Greetings, dear ones. Lots of divine love and light to you from KANHANGAD, Kerala. This is a divine place that I am in right now. I know this is an odd time for life, but then none of my lives are pre-scheduled. So it's all the last moment nudge that I have. And from there I come online. So allow me a moment to just share this into my page. Yes, I'm done with. Hope you all are doing good. Even if there are not much people here today, and that's okay. I'm leaving back the recording because this is the only convenient time that I have today. Whole day I was in different activities, and so I couldn't come online. So I hope this notification has come because it's a little slow here. There is a lag here. Anyways, I wanted to do this session from KANHANGAD because these are again deep moments in awareness, which I wanted to cover and share with all of you. Whoever is interested in higher realities are welcome to these sessions. I know not much may be there here, but still. So it was a beautiful day today, and I had just been out and was in the cave for the almost whole day. I was here in the ashram and around the ashram. I just came from out. I thought I'll do this live here. It's a very odd time, but still I would prefer to keep it here, recording for those who are... Okay, I guess now it is catching up because the live goes a little late. Okay, anyways. So I came here to KANHANGAD. It was a last moment decision again. I was planning to go elsewhere, Tiruvannamalai, but there were no tickets available last moment, a lot of bookings there, so I made a last moment decision to come to KANHANGAD, and I believe it was supposed to be that way. What happened was, beautifully, there was one book that was written by Sri Ravindran, and Sri Ravindran was here. Let me see who is this. He wrote this book, and P.K. Nair, they are all very famous here with Bhagwan Nityananda. They were all here with Bhagwan Nityananda, and yes, his name is Ravindran. I was in love with this person, this devotee called P.V. Ravindran, because the first time I came ever to KANHANGAD, that was in 2009 or 2010, so almost 12 years back. And the first time I came to know about Nithyananda in very good details, I cannot on the fan, so please excuse me. Very good details I had known about Bhagwan Nityananda was from Sri Ravindran's book. The advantage was that he and P.K. Nair, they were very close to Bhagwan during those days. So they used to be seated at his feet here in KANHANGAD, and they had a lot of experiences and a lot of things which is not known very much in public. Many books I have referred after that. I have not found information that was there in this book, Ravindranji's book. So I was in love with this book because it gave me so much of insight. There was one in Malayalam and one in English. So I purchased both these books back in 2009, went home, gave one to mom, the Malayalam one to mom, and English one I was reading. And the whole book gave very good insights about KANHANGAD and Bhagwan's life, especially here in KANHANGAD. So very rare, very little details are known about Bhagwan Nityananda because he did not want people to know about it. It was a very deliberate, and he was not a public person. He was an avadhuta who moved in that state, and he had nothing to do with the public, with the world or his publicity and all that. So he remained always very, very hidden from the public. And whatever he did, all the miracles that he did here, जितने भी उन्होंने चमत्कार, सो कॉल्ड चमत्कार किए यहाँ पे कान्हांगड में, केरला में, ये सब उनकी एक लीला थी, उनकी इच्छा से नहीं हुई. मतलब इट वॉज नॉट एन इंटेंशनल फीट दैट ही परफॉर्म्ड, इट जस्ट हैपेंड अराउंड हिम. Wherever he went, miracle just happened because he was in that godly state. So there was no intention. There was no intention to do something to someone or all that. So like many people came, they got healed. Some did not get healed. That shows, there is no intention to catch hold of people and heal them or catch hold of something and do a miracle. It was not that way. If somebody was worthy enough and somebody's karmic consequences were appropriate enough, it happened. Though in very rare stages he intervened, very rare. Even we know all the other great mighty avadhutas like Shirdi Sai Baba, Gajanan Swami, Gajanan Maharaj, and then we have Swami Samartha. All these great avadhutas, they were all like this. They hardly intervened unless it was absolutely necessary, and only they know why and when they intervened. So Bhagwan Nityananda was somebody like that. He did not want any acknowledgement from anybody. So he always remained aloof. And whenever miracles happened around him, if somebody saw that, many people saw, but if somebody who saw that, that is one thing. But if they saw and if they could record it or narrate it, then it remained as an incident, as an evidence, like somebody spoke about it. And I know there must have been thousands of episodes which has gone unnoticed in Bhagwan's life because there was nobody to note it down because he was always alone, hardly with people. Only in later state of his life he became known. Like around even 20 years when he was there, hardly 20 years, 13 years he was here in Guruvan and all that. And hardly when he was 20 years, he reached to that state of that complete like an avadhuta. This is what the book says. These are details which we do not know, but some evidences talk about it. So he became in that state, completeness state, somewhere in age 20. And there is when he started doing all these things. And then people started noticing and they started writing or recording it somewhere, in text or something. And that's how it came to be known. Even Chidakasha Gita came to be known that way, where Tulsi Amma actually took the painstakingly wrote it down. So, multiple incidents have happened, I'm sure, 100%. Even the author speaks about it, that there must have been so many incidents which went unnoticed. Because nobody knew about what he does, where he goes, all these things. So, why this I'm trying to bring out these things? Because these are live examples of our role models. The possibilities of highest possibility where humans can reach, it's in a human body. So these will give us nourishment as to what the life journey is about, the spiritual journey is about. Spiritual journey does not end in a little bit of meditation here and there, a little bit of understanding or knowledge about. No, it's very deep. It goes to the extent of becoming godlike. So these are few, very rare human beings who live like that. And that state is so humble that despite being godlike and despite having all the powers to do anything and everything, they never misuse it. Because at that state, when they are acquired that kind of power, godly power, the ego is destroyed completely. So when the ego, what is the thing that wants acknowledgement is the ego. So when they have lost their ego, whatever they perform is without karmic consequences. When the ego functions, it has karmic consequences. There is a give and take, cause and effect begins there. But if the ego is not there, and if somebody is functioning egoless or mindlessly, without the mind is the cause of karma, always. So mind comes only when there is a doer, there is a karta. So only when there is a feeling that I am separate, and when I am separate, I am not God. So God cannot be doing it. I am separate, so I am doing it. So anything that we think, we speak, or we act in action, that has a cause and effect, karmic consequences. That attracts karma. So the avadhutas are known to be mindless. They don't have mind. Because they have no ego, the mind is also destroyed. The tool of ego is mind. So when mind is destroyed, there is no karta, there is no doer, there is no thinker who will think, who will analyze, who will plan, who will judge, who has conclusions. So it is a free-flowing activity of the divine that happens through that human body. So that is why it is called as Leela. Leela means unaffected by karma or karmic consequences. So Bhagwan Nityananda was one such mighty human incarnation who used to perform, not even perform is because perform, when I say it, there is a performer who used to just live godly and miracles occurred around him. So that was the state, and that is how he came to KANHANGAD here. He had many mysteries here in Kerala, many places he roamed about, and he was not even known in his young days. As Ram, his christened name was Ram, and nobody knows about his parents. Who is his father, who is his mother, no idea. Somebody found him in the jungle, that's how the story goes, and then they brought him to a lawyer's house, and the lawyer took care of him as a foster father. We all know about it. And then he was raised up, and nobody knew who this young Ram is going to turn out. So only after a few, during his adolescent ages, then when people started noticing unusual activities of his, when he used to, his being only would perform that miracles around him, and then people started knowing that he is something extraordinary. So astrologers mentioned that he is going to be a great human incarnation, and he is going to serve mankind. This is how the astrologers had predicted that time, and they knew that this young Ram is something little extraordinary. So that's how they allowed him to be, and he was himself, all by himself. So at the age, very young age, when 13 or something, he wanted to go to Kashi, and he went there, and then he never returned. He didn't want to come back, and his father came back very sad, and we all know that. So what happened in Kashi also, this book talks a little bit, which is not there. I have not read it anywhere else. So what happened was, this book was very dear to me that time. So I had purchased this book, and after reading in the first year, 2009 or 2010, when I read it, that was it. I came to know little about Nithyananda, and then I forgot about the book. Then I started visiting KANHANGAD here, there and everything, and the book was forgotten. Many books came in this past 10 years. Many authors have written many books. And I read all these books. I kept reading all these books and all that. But after a certain time, just recently, this year, 2022, I was having these things in mind that book of Ravindran ji is so beautiful, because there were some nudges I could, some things I could remember. So I wanted that book very desperately. I was thinking where to get it. For almost 2 years, I was coming here. 2 years continuously, I was asking KANHANGAD ashram people about this book, and they said, "I'm sorry, we are sorry, the book is out of print." I said, "Can we get it reprinted and all that?" They said, "We have tried, but we don't know who has it, and we have no idea about it." So I just let go of it. I asked many people, many devotees. I even asked Vijayanand Swami about it. He said, "I had it, even I don't have it now." So I started searching the Malayalam book, I couldn't get that also. Then I started searching the English one, I couldn't get that also. So all this went on, but the deep thing was there, longing was there. And then it so happened, just last week when I was planning to come to Tiruvannamalai and here, I was thinking which place to go. So then I thought I'll come here because the ticket is available, and I took a Tatkal. Immediately booked just 2 days before leaving, and that is when I come to know that, even I'm going to KANHANGAD. So I think, okay, in 2 days I'm going to leave and all that. And then what happens is, when I was booking this Purna Express from Belgaum, I remembered one uncle who lives close to our house, because his hometown is just one station next. After KANHANGAD, there's Payannur. So he stays there. And he has good link in this areas. So I remembered uncle, and I thought he's my father's friend. So I said, I'll just call him and ask him, how are you and all that. So I called him. I booked my ticket and I called him. And I told uncle, I was booking this ticket and I remembered you. He said, oh, how are you? Where are you all these days? I said, I'm here. And then he said, why don't you come and meet? I said, okay, I'll come. In the afternoon, I called him again, Uncle, where are you? He said, I'm not here. I'm in the Ayyappa temple. So he's the main guy there, main secretary there. So he handles everything. So he said, I'm not at home, come to the temple. So this Ayyappa temple is where my father was serving for many years. And he was one of the founders there of that temple also. So some strange things. And so they revere my father very much there, because even they have placed his photo, his name and all that, because this temple was erected due to his contributions in his work, what he gave, the seva that he gave. So they remember him fondly. So I am known by his son there. So I went to meet uncle there, Kannan uncle, and he was sitting there, and then he told me, Ari, you had given many books, long back. We have stored it here. You have never come this side. We wanted to show you how well we have preserved the library. And he said, look back. And I looked back, and there was a beautiful library. And there were close to 100 books, which all I had donated. When I went to Delhi to serve my Guru, and all these books were lying here, so I had called my mom and told her to gift everything to uncle. So he had taken the books and kept it there. And I had completely forgotten about this incident. So when I look at the book thing and I just open the slide, this book comes first there. There is a time I remember, oh my God, this book is here. I pull out this book. This is the book. And this is nowhere in print after that. It is known as the Eternal Entity, Bhagwan Nityananda. And this is written by P.V. Ravindran. So I was sitting there and I was shocked. It was a pleasant shock, because I opened the book and all the details I wanted just there. And just in 2 days I am coming to Purna, here in Ernakulam. Here to KANHANGAD with this Ernakulam Express. And I said, oh my God, this is what I wanted, and it's come the right time, And that train reminded me of uncle, and uncle called, and I went there, and this book comes and to my hand, and since that time I've been reading this book and enjoying. So I wanted to share some beautiful insights from this book, which might not, this is for all the people who know Nityananda and who do not know also, because there are few things which are there very much in this. So I just made note of this. I don't know how much time I will be able to do today. Whatever time I am able to spend here, I'll read out a couple of things. So that is why I named this live as Moments in a Higher Reality, because we are here in awareness. As I told last week, the tool is very important. If you do not have a tool, you will get lost in samsara. Very, very easily you can get lost. The mind, the ego is so catchy that one slip of mind and you're gone. And you will not even know. The irony is, you will not even know that you've gone. You have slipped out of your awareness. That is the power of Maya. That is the power of the ego. What it can do. And especially for seekers on the path of liberation, it is a challenge. For those who are spiritual, for those who just want, okay, fine, to be goody life and all that, it's fine. We can take those risks. But for those who are very serious on this path, the carefulness must be there. What is this carefulness? I call this carefulness as awareness. So if you are all the time aware, your awareness, your consciousness will keep you safeguarded on that. Keep you aligned with the goal. Because I always tell that, do anything in life, but the goal should not miss. If you miss the goal, then you're gone. Because the goal is your savior. If that highest goal is not there in front of you, then you'll move into some other direction, take a different direction, and you will not even know that you have taken a different direction. Because I always tell, if you are going this way, and if the direction is only so much, you might think, oh, it's a small gap. It's a small. So what will happen? But you imagine as you proceed, this gap goes on this way. It's a V shape. So only after traveling a long distance, maybe a couple of weeks or months or years, or probably even lifetimes, that you will come to know you have deviated, you have gone somewhere else. That is the catch in the path. To avoid this gap, even if there is a gap, that's fine. But to avoid further widening, awareness is needed. To know even that you have split from the path, because if this is your path, and if you take a deviation, you'll think it's okay. But even to know this difference, you need awareness. Even if you miss out on awareness and if you have reached somewhere else and then you become aware here, then you realign back and then you come back and join much. That's the whole idea of shifting into awareness. When you keep shifting into awareness, this is what happens. So today I was sitting here just in this temple outside in Jananand Swami's temple space, and it was just beautiful, very well aligned. And I was thinking, these thoughts were coming to me about awareness. What is awareness? What is consciousness? All these things. Now consciousness. Awareness, I'll just brief it because it's going to be a good subject here, whether in KANHANGAD or Tiruvannamalai or anywhere. It's all about the alignment. Why do we come to such places? To align ourselves. Whenever I get misaligned, I always choose my tools. My tools might be my books, videos, my own videos, or meditation, or places, energetic places, power vortexes. I call these places power vortex because it's very powerful. These places are Jagrit Sthan. As I told you, without a reason, Nityananda wouldn't have come here and chosen this space and created this 44 caves. Some reason, 100%, because it was a major part of his life incident. If he has incarnated on this earth to live for a few decades here, in those few decades, he chose this place to do his major work. So, his mission of taking birth as an avatar here on the earth included this mission of setting up these 44 caves, which is a Jagristan, it's a power vortex, it's a completely powerful place. So, whenever we are misaligned, whenever we are needing help, or whenever we need attunement, whenever we need alignment, we go to power vortex. And I have been using the power vortexes all my life. And my life journey, my videos, my whatever I share, it is all about this. Tools, the building tools on the path. So these are tools for me. Places like these are tools for me. Very Jagrit Sthan. And as I told you, while I was in the Himalayas also, one Himalayan monk told me that such places definitely help, and he took the name of Tiruvannamalai in the Himalayas. He told me Ramana's place, Arunachala, is a place of high vibrancy, and he said such Jagristan, ऐसे Jagristan में quantum leaps होते हैं. This is what the Himalayan monk told me while I was in Gangotri. He said, Rishikesh, he said the quantum leaps होता है इसमें. Quantum leaps means you can forget the quantum, you just take a leap. What is a leap? Instead of walking, you take a leap, a jump. So when you come to Jagrit Sthans, there is a quantum leap in the consciousness. And he took the name of Arunachala. So Arunachala is known very much even in the Himalayas. And even when I was speaking to Swami Rameshji, he also said that he was here for 16 years. Continuously he came 16 years to Arunachala. Every year he used to come. And he also told the importance of that place. And all that he told me was, Upadesha Saram padho, aapko sab, aapka pura adhyatma usme, Upadesha Saram. See? So, well, this is a very not known place. This is not very publicized place. This is a very hidden kind of a place. Like today I was shooting many videos here. I'll post those videos also. You'll see so much of silence. Hardly anybody knows also of this place. Very few people come here. But it's powerful place. Powerful place. So, yes, if you would like to come here again, I would recommend again minimum of 3 days. Stay here and Guruvan and just in this atmosphere. But again, as I always say, come alone. Be alone. Do not mingle too much. Do not fall too much for discussions and all those things, because that will distract you from the path. I always tell that. Be alone, because that's the example I give even when I'm in Tiruvannamalai. My friends meet and want to meet. I usually avoid that. So I only fix up time only during lunch breaks. Let us meet and talk during lunch break. Or when I'm back in the room, sometime later, but not in the meditative hours. Because we must understand with so much of difficulty we get time to come to such places. And there we must be fully focused and aligned. If we are going to stay in that place, then it's okay. Forever. we understand. But if you are coming here, taking out spare time, like 2 days, 1 day, sometimes some people come for even 1 day, half days also I have seen people coming here. At least they come, visit and go. But if it has to be of full benefit, then you got to simmer down. What you do in the world, do not do here. If you have been chatting too much in the world, do not do here. If you have been talking too much on the phone, do not do in such places. If you have been having group discussions and chats and bakar, it's going, do not do in such places. If you have been too much distracted with the mobile all the time there, do not do it here. Anything that you have been doing in the world, because see, what is the reason of us coming here? To do that which we are not able to do there. So what is the point in coming here and repeating all those things here? That is the catch of Maya. I always want this. Maya is there everywhere. I told you, Maya is there not only in Tiruvannamalai, it is there even in the Himalayas. Jagrat. Jagruk hona zaruri hai. You have to be aware and conscious. If you are aware and conscious, you will catch yourself. Otherwise, you come and you begin diverting. And then you will not even catch where you have missed out. So, whenever you come to such places here, come alone. Even if you are together in a group or something, be alone in a group. I remember I used to come here 10 years back with 20-25 people all the time. I am planning to just check it out if that is possible, because we need permissions there, because again the rooms and facilities, all those things need to be there. Right now I don't think they are able to handle too much. So I got to check out on that. If that is there, then such kind of satsangs, if it happens here, because those years I remember, 10, 12 years, whenever I used to come, around 20, 25 people would be with me. And I was very strict on that. Even if you are a group, I would, only while we are discussing certain things, we are together as a satsang. Rest all of the time we are aloof. So even if we are 20, 25 people, all are alone in that group. And there were many incidences where I told not to deviate, and people still used to deviate and all that. And some would go for shopping, some would go for some beach trips and all that. And the whole thing used to shake up. And things did not go well at that time with a few people. So you got to be very careful when you come to such places. You got to be very much aligned with such places, because that is why those places are built. Those such places are made. Imagine Bhagwan Nityananda. He has not made it for partying. Sure shot. Then he would have made it somewhere in the hub of Mumbai or hub of Bangalore or Chennai or Hyderabad or Delhi. He made it in this remote location. So even Arunachala, you see, it's a remote. Now it has become commercialized. That's a different thing. But these were all very remote places, very Jagrat Sthans. And they must be having some connections. We do not know of the deep, old, mysterious connections here, because Bhagwan Nityananda would never speak of such things. Never. So even if he spoke, hardly anybody understood. And if anybody understood, hardly anybody recorded it. I think Ravindran ji is somebody who did record in that manner. So I was talking about awareness. All this about consciousness. Now we have this consciousness. Consciousness is awareness. Okay, do not get confused, because all the time people, they ask me what are you making aware of? What kind of awareness is this? About the health awareness or environmental awareness, or so many kind of awareness is there. We are not talking about that awareness. We are talking about our consciousness. So being aware means being conscious. And what is awareness? Awareness is consciousness. Awareness is consciousness. Being aware is being conscious. Being conscious of what? Being conscious of your consciousness. Being aware of what? Being aware of your awareness, which is nothing but consciousness. If we understand this, then the path is aligned towards becoming aware of the self. We are trying to become aware of the self. Not trying to bring up some alertness or attentiveness in us and shake us up and wake us up to pollution, become aware of the pollution. Let us have an awareness day, pollution awareness day. No, it's not that awareness. You are awareness itself. Like when we say you are consciousness, you are pure consciousness, we know that. In another same terminology, if I say you are pure consciousness, it means you are pure awareness. I can say you are pure awareness. So that awareness is that consciousness. Now what is consciousness? Yourself, the soul, the Atman. The Atman is the consciousness. Becoming aware of your Atman is becoming aware of your awareness or your consciousness. Same terminology. So in one term, if you see, it leads towards awareness of the self. Till you become aware and aware of yourself repeatedly, till you can realize who that self is or what that self is. When you realize that self, it is called self-realization. So these all move towards self-realization. Self-realization is nothing. I realize who I am. Realizing means what? पता चलना कि मैं कौन हूं. मुझे आज पता चला कि मैं कौन हूं. I have realized who I am. So realizing me not as the false one, realizing me as the self, the true. सत्य में मैं कौन हूं? परम चेतना. तो जब मैं ये आभास हो जाए मुझे कि मैं परम चेतना हूं, उसको आत्म साक्षात्कार कहते हैं. साक्षात्कार होना आत्मन का. So when you realize, or realization it is called, or actualization, self actualization, you know the actual self. This comes from where? It begins with glimpses, trailer. Immediately film apne ko dikhai nahi dega. You don't get to see the film. You get glimpses, trailers. What are those glimpses? That is what we are trying to do in shifting into awareness. We shift into awareness and we get a glimpse of, oh, I'm not this. I'm not this body. I'm not this mind. I'm not this intellect. I'm not this emotion. Then who am I? I am this pure being. That has to come as a glimpse to you. When it comes as a glimpse to you, it is a hint to you. Oh, now I know I'm not this. I have only learned. Like a parrot, I have always said I am not the self. I'm not the body. I'm the self. I have only parroted it all the time because I've learned it. So if somebody asks you, who are you? A spiritual person. A saint asks you, who are you? There, just to convince him, because he is asking from a spiritual point of view, you might say, I am not the body. But if he asks, do you know it? There will be a question mark. Because we have not known it. We only have the idea that we are the self. We are not the body and the mind and all that. So when do we understand that? Experience, like I told you when I was in the Himalayas, the Mahatma that told me there, the monk told me, it is all in your anubhuti. Anubhuti is the experience. Experience is everything. You take out experience from your life is null. It's a void. It's of no use. Experience is everything. Because with experience comes conviction. Now I have read something. Now I am realizing what I have read. I am experiencing what I have read. That is all my effort about when you go anywhere. When you come to places like this. Power spots. Any power spots that you go to. That is an opportunity for us to realize and experience what we have read or what we have known. Otherwise we remain parroting all our life. And that wisdom is not going to help us. The intellectual knowledge is not going to help us. The actual experience is going to help us. So shifting into awareness, when you shift into that mode of awareness, is when you get a glimpse of that peace, that samadhi, that blissness, that the blissfulness, that cheerfulness, that tranquility, that stillness, that calmness, that peace. When you experience that, even momentarily, you now know you are something else. Once you get a taste of it, then you will chase it. Until you get a taste of it, the path is not very serious. It will lack something. It might delay. And a lot of challenges can put it into a threatened position. Because the glimpse is not yet right. So I would always tell, strive in the starting to experience what you read, to experience what you see, to experience what you know. Like in Kashi, the Swamiji who met me, Anantirth Maharaj, he told me one thing after inviting me to his ashram and talking. All that he told, when I asked him, why do you roam around? Why are you wandering so much? Because he was a wandering monk. So, Tirtha, that lineage itself is known for wandering. All the wandering monks are there in the Tirtha lineage. That sampradaya is that way. So, he keeps moving from one place to the other. And I asked him, because even I am a wandering monk, sort of, you can say. I am wearing this, that's a different thing. But my inner being is completely a wandering monk. So, two wandering people met there and we were having discussion, and probably that's the divine's way of conveying through another wandering monk to another wandering person who doesn't know yet. So, I asked him, what is this wandering about? Then he said, this is very important for us. For monks like us, or in this sampradaya, everything is about travel and experiencing life. He said, for 20 years I learned everything in this ashram. My guru taught me everything. The Vedas, Upanishads, all the higher truths, all the sacred scriptures I know. Everything I know like. So I know. It's the knowing. It's the intellectual wisdom. So then my guru said, now you go out. He asked why? He said, go out and experience the world. And when you experience the world, what you now know, you will begin digesting. Because in reality now you are seeing these experiences. Are you getting it? The monk told me, what I have read now, I began experiencing it in practicality, practical spirituality. And then he said that conviction, that power is so much, because now I know something, I have gyan, and now I am referring that with my practical experience, and then now I am churning, there is a churning that's happening within. And now I know the truth of what I have read. Otherwise, it's just, like I said, I am not the body, I am the soul. We have only read. But once we have a glimpse of it, we will say, yes, now I know, I really know. Not I know in my being, I know in my experience. So, the monk told me, and he reminded me the same thing. He said, you are doing exactly the same thing, but you are not aware of it. I asked what? He said, what you speak of in your life and all these things, activities, what you are doing, it is nothing but the higher scriptures only. What I have learned, it's all related to that, the Upanishads, and you are speaking that, but you are talking in a very layman term. And he said, keep doing that, because it's good. You are pointing towards the higher truth. You don't know, you are not aware of it. But it's the same thing in a very layman term, and this people can very easily grasp. It's very easy for people to grasp. Like I was coming, and there was I talked to one person who was in Tirunelveli just 2 days, yesterday. So I was talking to her, and she was telling, I could understand even Ramana Tattva, because it's very difficult, because I was watching your live, and seeing your live and your videos made it very simplistic for me to understand. So with that simple approach, when I go into the deep details, your videos are like introduction to that. So I am like prepared now, and once I am little prepared, a little enthusiasm, and I go into that space, and then the whole exploration begins. And said, this is mind-blowing, because otherwise it's very difficult to understand. Even if you take the Upanishads, you take the Holy Quran, you take the Bible, you take any sacred scriptures, you take Ramana Maharishi's texts, very difficult to just penetrate into that straight, because it's deep into some higher realms only, and the terminology is little difficult. Unless your chitta, your consciousness is in that state, it's very difficult to understand. So very few are able to catch it. So what the monk told me was, your translations are good. You are actually translating the same stuff only. So it's very good, and it's very good that you are wandering, because you are moving around, you are traveling, you are having experiences, you are actually churning those experiences of what you read. Like if I go to Tirunamalai, I am not just reading Ramana's books, but I am sitting there and churning that there, right there with the books, and having an experience. And then I have an experience, that insight I give in a live telecast. This is what it is, and it becomes clear. So it helps everyone, and he told it will help you first. This is what I posted about Sri Ravi Shankar ji's one post the other day. He said, somebody asked him, why are you making so many teachers? Then he said, because when you teach, you learn. Because when you start talking about a subject, you are going deeper into that. You are having an experience with that. And you are correlating all the time, you are into that. You are referring to the book, you are referring to your experience, speaking it out. Then somebody is asking a question. There is so much of churning going on. And he said that will sharpen the teaching itself within oneself. So I would highly recommend this kind of activities, because I told you, tool is your everything. If you have proper tools with you, it is your aid in the spiritual journey. Never have overconfidence. I have seen so many people having head down overconfidence in the spiritual field. Oh, now I know. One day there is a good experience in meditation, I have reached somewhere. One day the dhyana is good and beautiful experiences. Now I have done, it's done with. Then we take the path for granted. When we take the path for granted, slowly the tumbling happens. But if you become aware that these experiences are also transient, they move away. You know it. Today's experience cannot happen tomorrow. But our irony is that today if we have a beautiful experience, then we want a repeated telecast of that experience tomorrow. So we sit with that. And when we don't get, we are disappointed. So these are all catches in this path. Anyways, I wanted to put this introduction of being conscious and awareness, because that's very important with what I am trying to align us all together. Okay, so when I am talking something here, it's a lesson for me. It is a teaching for me. It is an experience for me. It's a learning for me also. So that's how I take these approaches. So as I said, being aware, being fully conscious of yourself, where you are, who you are, all the time. This is what the practice of shifting into awareness is. Till when do we shift, keep shifting? Why the shift? Because we know. It is very practical. Shift means we are not where we are. That means we are somewhere down. So we shift upward. And why the shifting again and again practice? Because we fall all the time. We are not in that aligned at all moments. So we keep drifting, opposite of shifting. We keep drifting back. And when I become aware that I have drifted back, I shift back. This is the practice. That is why I called it shifting into awareness. I didn't call it living in awareness. That is the goal of shifting into awareness. When you keep shifting and drifting, the catch keeps getting stronger and stronger. Then the drift becomes lesser and lesser. And even if it is less also, again the intensity will go lesser. So you'll be able to stay in alignment, stay in that awareness for a long time. That state, when it is extended, the whole idea is to keep extending that awareness, that being in awareness for a longer period. And to reach a state where it is sustained, it doesn't fall back. That is called living in an awareness. That state is self-realization. That is the state where that drifts don't happen. So we are all practitioners of shifting into that awareness, being aware of who I am. So all the time we need tools for that. We need reminders. See, my videos, again, the one intention is to remind. When I remind you of your journey and your goal, if you have watched all my videos, you will see one thing common. I keep reminding you of the goal. All my videos. Because that is the purpose of that awareness, being aware of my goal. Then only everything will. If I am not aware of my goal, will I become aware of myself? Will I ever be aware of who I am? Who am I? Striving to find out myself? I will not make an attempt. So the first goal is being aware of the goal itself. What is the goal? Bade bhag manushya tan pava. Vyarth nahi gavana isko, Tulsidas said. Means the highest purpose of this human incarnation is to reach that level, to become free from the bondage of birth and death. How do we become free from the bondage of birth and death? By becoming free from the cause and effect, from the karmic consequences. Now, how do we become free from the karmic consequences? By becoming aware. By becoming aware, because I told you, when the mind is not in function, when you are in awareness, you are not in the mind. So when you are not in the mind, your actions are not mind ego based. So anything that you do in awareness does not have a karmic consequences, as explained by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. In the start of this video also I told you why Mahapurushas like Bhagwan Nityananda do not attract karma by like Shirdi Sai Baba and all that. They do not, why it is called Leela, the Guru Leela or Ishta Leela or Krishna Leela. Why do we call Leela? Leela means no effect of cause and effect, no karma. Why no karma? Because the mind is absent. Mind absent, why? Because the ego is absent. No ego, no mind. Or no mind, no ego. So, only that which is inspired or produced by the mind or ego has a karmic effect. So, and we know now that when you are in awareness, there is no mind. There is nothing to prove this because you have experienced it. In my live sessions or in my personal consultations, when we have noticed and observed that when we shift into that awareness, suddenly the thoughts disappear, there is no mind, suddenly there is a calm neutrality and a blankness comes. Because when the mind is absent, the thoughts are absent. When there is no thought, you have entered into a state of blank. Blankness is an indication the mind is gone. Blankness means the mind is gone. Because what doesn't keep the mind blank? Thoughts, vritti. All the time vrittis are coming in the mind cannot go blank. Mind can only be blank when it is in a state of zero thoughts or thoughtless state or no thought state. And to enter into no thought state, you don't have to fight it. You just have to shift your consciousness from your mind to your being. So when you shift into awareness, you are no more in the mind. That is why very quickly people fall into meditative states just in awareness. People say while we are watching your live, I don't hear most of the thing. You keep talking and I keep coming out, coming in, coming out, going out, coming in, going out. Sometimes I hear your voice distant, sometimes I hear it clear, and then I see that half an hour has passed or 15 minutes have passed, I've zonked out. What has happened? You have fallen into that blank state where the mind is no more there. Why? Because of that awareness. You have shifted into awareness, which is a no mind state. So it depends on the quality of that shifting. Some people shift very qualitatively. Some people keep shifting and drifting and shifting and drifting. That is why they go in and out, in and out. So these are experiences. When you sit with somebody who is in an aware state, parinam, paristiti, the environment influences you. That is why when we have these sessions and all that, you can feel that thing happening. If you are alive, if you are in your mind, for example, if you are sitting and judging, what is this guy talking? What is this happening? Is it that way? Nothing is going to happen because you are put your awareness now in the ego or the mind. It's acting from there. The moment you let go of that and you shift into awareness, in that beingness, suddenly you will see it's a no thought state. So it is a very spontaneous kind of an activity and it doesn't need you to close your eyes, sit in Padmasana, sit in this asana, that asana, take deep breaths or watch your breath and close your eyes. If you see, I never tell people these things. When we are talking in awareness, we become aware of something apart from this body and mind. Suddenly you see the breath has become still, the person has become calm, the person has become straight, the spine straightens up, they sit automatically straight, and then even if they don't want, they see their eyes closing down. So this means the cosmic intelligence knows how to function if we allow it to. When we are in the mind, we take the doership and we keep functioning. That is why things don't happen. When we let go of that, the doership, the cosmic intelligence takes over and then it starts functioning. So this is all the idea about places like KANHANGAD and Tiruvannamalai, where we keep aligning to these higher truths. And my purpose of reading these books or bringing these things into your life is to just provide a kind of tool. I know this is an odd hour, very odd hour at 8 p.m. at night. First time I'm doing, I think, this hour. But I'll still do it because I don't have time. Tomorrow I'll be again busy here, and tomorrow again I'm leaving from here and traveling elsewhere. So I'll be busy. So I won't be able to do it tomorrow. So I thought I'll just leave some important here. If anything misses out from here, I'll have another session somewhere back when I'm home or some other place, and I'll continue reading. But I'll read only the important aspect which is not known. Some might be known, but some will not be known. It might be interesting to people who want to read and know about Bhagwan Nityananda or Avadhutas. So the book begins where Ravindran ji is writing about KANHANGAD, and how many times people have gone to Bhagwan and asked him, where have you come from? What is your date of birth? Which is your place of birth? And who are you? Who are your parents? Who are your siblings? Who are your relatives? Where have you come from? Where are you going? What is your intention? All these things of the past. And Bhagwan Nityananda never even once encouraged anybody on these details. He either diverted the topic, or he kept silent, or he even became angry. So he used to tell, what is the point in you trying to find out all these details? It's nonsensical trying to find out where I was born, who's my parents, what have you got to do with that? And he used to say, when you go to buy milk from the cow herd or the shepherd, when you go to that place and you get the milk, is there any point in asking what is the color of the cow? There is a Hindi saying in Hindi, आम खाओ, गुटलियाँ क्यों गिनते हो या पेड़ क्यों गिनते हो? So just eat the fruit. Why do you want to know the seed of it and that which tree and all that stuff? So he was very particular. These are signs and symptoms of a true avatar, a true person, liberated being, Jivan Mukta, and avadhuta. Perfect states of avadhuts are these descriptions. So the author has again and again referred the Avadhoota Gita with Bhagwan's life very beautifully to show us that how avadhuts are, and we get a little bit of information. So the book says, once some true devotees of Gurudev means Nityananda Bhagwan, asked him about his parentage and his place of birth. Gurudev's reply was, people go and bathe in the Ganga to purify themselves. They feel happy when they bathe in the Ganga, the holy river. They don't bother to find out the origin of the river. And even if they know about it, it is of no special significance to them. These are words of Bhagwan Nityananda. I have not read it anywhere. So, this author is saying that he used to be around while Bhagwan was in KANHANGAD. So, he had the opportunity of being around Bhagwan, and Bhagwan even spoke to him also. Personally also a few things around which he could recollect and he could write, and sometimes he used to just speak liberally to the people, and that also he could note. So he was literally around here, he and his family. So they knew, they served Bhagwan. And he says, the Chidakasha Gita also in Malayalam he translated, and he, with the permission of Bhagwan, he released it. And he says, even most of these details from this book also, he asked for Bhagwan, and Bhagwan okayed it. So with the permission of Bhagwan only, many things came out here. And it's very unfortunate that this book is not available, because so much of Nityananda's other details can be known here. So I am making an attempt to, maybe the whole book is not there, because there are many repetitive things, we all know about it. So I am just choosing that which is not known, and maybe it will help us all. So this is what Bhagwan said, and then seeing Gurudev and association with him were rare experiences for genuine devotees. They helped them towards self-realization. Their souls awoke and they were aware of spiritual heights never attained till then. Unimportant details were of no consequence. As a matter of fact, no one knows of his early life. On very rare occasions, a very few of his true devotees have had the privilege of listening to Gurudev mentioning bits of his early life. He would stop such discourses the very moment he discovered their keenness to know this fact. See, whenever he used to just talk very liberally, natural, spontaneous, with no intention of giving even gyan or knowledge. So he just spoke spontaneously. But the moment somebody wanted to catch this gyan and somebody became little keen on knowing little more detail, he would stop. See the genuineness. He would stop such discourses the very moment he discovered their keenness to know those facts. He would say, "You want me to tell you about myself?" He would inquire. "How is that possible when I realize that I am in everything and then there is nothing around me in which I don't find myself?" Bhagwan Nityananda's words. And then the author says, Avadhoota Gita tells us, know me to be that self who is everything and everywhere at all times, who is eternal, steady, sthir, the all, the non-existent and the existent. Have no doubt, the whole universe, beginning with the principle of cosmic intelligence, is not in the least manifest to me. All is indeed Brahman alone. How can there be any existence in caste or stage of life for me? The Avadhoota Gita asks this. So the author has made very good attempts to refer again and again to the Avadhoota Gita. See, if you don't understand Avadhoota Gita also, it's okay. It's a little difficult. I am trying to make it very plain as possible. So, once some ardent disciples went to Vadagara. That is North Kerala. Vadagara is the place where Shivananda Paramahamsa's Jiva Samadhi is there. Okay. They went to Vadagara in search of Gurudev's place of birth. So they went to Vadagara. It's not in Vadagara, but they went searching there. Bhagwan Nityananda's place of birth. And Bhagwan got very angry with them. He asked, "What is there in that place? Why did you go there?" He said that his devotees were the real relations. So Bhagwan is telling them, "Why did you go there? To find my relatives?" He said, "My true relatives are my devotees." And then he says, "Who was my mother and who was my brother?" He said his parents and brothers were those who loved God and who worked for God. Jesus Christ also has said such a words to that effect. See, author is comparing Jesus Christ's words to Bhagwan Nityananda. He says, Jesus Christ asked, "Who is my mother and who is my brother? For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother." Means, Jesus said, "Who is my mother and who is my father? The one who does the will of God is my brother, my father, my mother and my brother." Spiritual relationship is stronger than blood relationship. The author says this. And then he again quotes the Avadhoota Gita. Avadhoota Gita tells us, "I never had a father, mother, son or the like. I was never born and never did I die. I never had a mind. The supreme reality is undistracted and calm. I am the nectar of knowledge, homogeneous existence like the sky. Never do I have a father, mother, family, caste, birth and death. How shall I then speak of affection and infatuation? I am free from disease. My form has been extinguished." The Avadhoota Gita. Okay. Then he talks about the story of where he was found and all that. See, there are many versions again in the story of Bhagwan Nityananda. Some say he was found there, some say he was floating on the river, some say the cobra was there and all that. But nobody is 100% sure because it is still heard of. Because it never came from Bhagwan's mukh, from his mouth. So it is all hearsay. And he was never interested. Bhagwan was never interested in proving or correcting or letting know the real details. Okay, then the author continues writing, the true characteristic of a spiritual person is compassion. Whenever Rama saw an old man, Rama means Bhagwan Nityananda, when he was a child, his name was Rama. Whenever Rama saw an old man with a heavy load on his head, he would run to the old one, relieve him of the load and carry it to the destination. So whenever Bhagwan as a child, he saw somebody, old person carrying a heavy load, he used to run and take that load on his head and take to the destination. See, these details we never know. No one could ever imagine that the boy would one day help to relieve the anguish and sufferings of human beings. The transition of Rama to Sadguru Nityananda was unimaginable at that time. Nobody knew. And then, helping and soothing people were inborn in the boy. It was not uncommon for women to lose their gold trinkets when they bathe in the temple tanks. So where Bhagwan Nityananda used to stay in his young days in Koilandi, there's a place there. We have been there. There are temple tanks. So women used to bathe there, and many times their gold tinklets or nose rings or earrings used to fall off. Whenever Rama heard of such an incident, he would readily dive into the depth of the tanks, retrieve the trinket, however small it was, come up to the surface and give it back to the overjoyed loser. No one at that time could ever imagine that someday the same boy would be capable of retrieving divine bliss that humanity had lost. So beautifully is written. No one. Okay. That Rama was a veritable incarnation. He would never accept any kind of compensation for such acts of kindness. Whenever someone insisted on Rama accepting a reward, he would immediately buy grass with the same money and feed the cows nearby. So if somebody wanted to reward him for his help, he would never take. But if they forced, he would take the money and buy grass for the cows and feed the cows. He loved the cows. On occasions when he had to be a cowherd, he was a cowherd also, sometimes grazing the cow. We have never heard of this aspect of Bhagwan. So on occasions when he had to be a cowherd, he would take them up to the pastures on the hill to graze them. And there, while all alone, there were people who saw him in a state of total trance-like meditation. I have heard the same stories of many cowherds, including Tirumularji, who used to graze cows and be in that state. And even Balaknathji, Baba Balaknath in Himachal Pradesh, I have been to his Jiva Samadhi. He was also known to be that way. Take the cows there and be in Samadhi. They would try to lift him up and awaken him, but to no avail. The boy was known to spend many hours in such meditation, where he would have no contact with the physical world. Seeing the boy in such a state, someone would fetch him a tender coconut and pour the delicious water into the boy's mouth. Once, Sri Kumaran of Koilandi did that. And that same Kumaran narrated the event to the present writer. So these are real experiences. The people who did it, they even actually fed Bhagwan Nityananda in that state of Samadhi. They spoke. Who could ever understand the state of mind of a divine being? Who could attain supreme bliss? One evening after dusk, some snake charmers let loose some poisonous snakes into Sri Ishwar Iyer's house. Ishwar Iyer is the foster father of Bhagwan Nityananda. So in their house, some snake charmers left all these poisonous snakes. But they had a business in that. They would leave poisonous snakes into many people's house, and next day they used to come in disguise and tell, there are some poisonous snakes in your house, we can sense it. And they used to get scared. And they would say, do you want us to take it out? And they would say, yes, who would want a poisonous snake in their house? And then they used to charm, they used to play the music and the snakes would come. They were trained snakes, in that manner. So when the snake would come, they would catch it and they would say, see, the snake was hidden, and they would take money for it. So this was their business. So one day when snake shamas came and they left snakes, poisonous snake into Ishwarayar's, that is Bhagwan Nityananda, as a child, his house. Rama, that is Bhagwan Nityananda, ever alert, saw the entire nefarious operation. When the snake charmers left, Rama managed to catch all the reptiles, put them into a basket and let them loose in a nearby forest. The next day, the band of snake charmers visited the house and told Ishwarayar that they were 100% certain that there are poisonous snakes hiding in the house. As could be expected, Sri Iyer was very much upset and annoyed and readily gave permission to capture the reptiles if they could. They took out the peculiar flutes and started playing the tune, very confident that the snake would soon come out and gather around them. To their utter disappointment, not a single snake made its appearance, obviously, because Rama had already captured and left it out. Once again they tried, and then they saw young Rama dancing in front of them. So Bhagwan was dancing in front of them, that boy. They realized that their clever ruse had been discovered. They came to know that it was all found out. Ashamed of the duplicity, to save their face, they made a hasty retreat. They ran away from there. When Ishwarayar heard about all that happened, he praised Rama and complimented him for the courage that he had shown so quietly. These are some of his small things which we have never heard of. Bhagwan as a little child that he did. So the author continues writing. I don't know what time it is. There is a call, sorry. So I'll keep doing this till whenever possible. If you have the capacity to stay back, please, otherwise you can watch the recording. I don't mind even if there are 0 viewers, I'll leave the recording behind. So God's decrees are marvelous. It was time for young Rama to get out of the mundane attachment and manifest divine glory. It had been for long Ishwarayar's intention to go on a pilgrimage to Varanasi, that is Banaras, or Kashi. He got ready for the long journey. He decided to take his favorite Rama with him. See, we just know that he went and came, but here there are some more details. They reached Prayag. They had a holy dip in Triveni, the Sangam. On the banks of Triveni, Ishwarayar worshipped the sun for a long time. He looked around for Rama. He was astounded to see the young Rama fearlessly swimming in the Triveni Sangam, unmindful of the strong current. The next day, they went to Varanasi and found lodgings in Hanuman Ghat. Precise details. There they had a bath in the holy Manikarnika. It became Rama's habit to slip away to Harishchandra Ghat. So Harishchandra Ghat is there in Banaras. I am knowing this now. So Bhagwan used to slip and go to Harishchandra Ghat and be there and seek solitude in divine trance, enjoying the kind of bliss known only to himself. It took quite some time for old Ishwarayar to communicate with Rama on such occasions. After worshipping Kashi Vishwanath, they left for Gaya. Gaya is Bodh Gaya, to propitiate Vishnu. From there they went to Akshayavati. They then returned to Varanasi once again. Rama found opportunities to lose himself in total trance at the Harishchandra Ghat again. It was at this juncture one day that Rama spoke to Ishwarayar, I don't propose to return home with you. I want to go to the Himalayas. I shall have to take leave of you. We shall meet again when the time comes. So this is the little boy telling his foster father that he wants to go upwards to the Himalayas and he is not returning home. I shall have to take leave of you and we shall meet when the time comes. When the old man heard this, the shock was so sudden and intense that he did not know what to do. How could he ever leave Rama who had become a part of his life? How could he manage to return home without Rama? He tried at most to make Rama change his decision, but he failed. He embraced Rama, showering his heartly blessings on him, and left for home. Rama became a free man and all alone visited many holy places. After Saranath, Bodh Gaya, Kedarnath, Badrinath, and Amarnath, he went to the caves deep inside the Himalayan wilds and found abundant peace in trance, Satchit Ananda state. Whereas here, back in Kerala, old age and debility inflicted Ishwarayar. He realized that he was about to reach his life's journey end. Before that, he wanted to see his daughter married off. Preparation of the marriage had begun, and then the marriage was solemnized at the Guruvayur temple. His only grief was that it would not be possible for Rama to be present on this occasion. At midnight, he heard a knock at the door. When he opened the door, he saw the smiling face of Rama. And the old man could find no words to express his utter surprise. His unbound joy was that he called all his family and presented Rama to them. Their joys knew no bounds. The next day, all of them left for Guruvayur. The marriage went off most happily. The couple and the bridegroom's party left for Calicut, today known as Kozhikode. Ishwarayar and his family and Rama returned to Pantalayani. Knowing that his end was near, Ishwarayar divided his property among his children, not forgetting to allot a share to Rama. When Rama came to know about this, he could not but play a trick. He made Ishwarayar swear that he would do whatever Rama wanted. So he made Ishwarayar some tricks he played so that he would take a promise from him. And when he was successful to do that, when the old man gave his word, Rama begged him to divide the share given to him also among the man's children. Ishwarayar had to comply. For Rama, who was to inherit the entire world, where lay the need for property and wealth? So then he has written more, which we already know. Then he continues here. Ishwarayar's mortal remains. After that he just tells Nityananda, my last wish is to have darshan of Surya Narayan, because he was a worshipper of sun, and that blessing Nityananda gave him. One touch and he had the darshan of Surya Narayan, and he left his body very happily, blessing Rama. You gave me eternal ananda, the peace and the bliss of that state, the Nityananda state. So you are Nityananda to me. And that is when he exclaimed, you are Nityananda, you are going to be Nityananda. What he says here is, Rama, Rama, you have accorded me the supreme state of bliss, Ananda, divine happiness to my very soul, and I feel I am one with the Almighty, Satchitananda. You are Nityananda, my own Nityananda, and may you be Nityananda to all. These were his words. So this is where Rama became Nityananda. So Ishwarayar's mortal remains were cremated on the banks of Bharatapura. See, all these precise details are there. Young Nityananda took part in all the funeral obsequies, all the formalities. When Ishwarayar's ashes in the casket, Nityananda left once again for holy Kashi and Varanasi. There he deposited the ashes and other mortal remains of Sri Ayar in the holy waters of Ganga. So he takes back the Asti to Banaras and he offers it to Ganga there. He also managed to feed many people, Nityananda. Later, for many months, Nityananda rested in Tilabandeshwara. He wore only saffron clothing, Bhagwa Kapda, like monks, sannyasis. Bhagwan Nityananda wore at that time. His food consisted of only milk and fruits. After that period of his life, he was seen in front of a cave and at Vande Kashi. He was seen in Vande Kashi in front of a cave. There he was seen in deep penance for 41 days at Kala Bhairava temple. We never know of these details. Later he went away to Kashi. Years passed and he was again seen like a wandering mendicant, wandering yogi who apparently had no attachments in the world. During this period of his life, he visited Sri Lanka and Burma. While wandering in Burma, he would often clean public toilets, sweep the roads, and attend to other jobs of sanitation. Any kind of work, when done in the form of service of God, will attain the status of true worship. In Sri Lanka, people noticed his attitude of selfless service for the welfare of common people. They realized the divine spark in him and they respected and one day they saw him playing pranks with the king cobra and they looked on in unbelieving wonder. These are some details, rare details again, which I am saying here because we do not know these things. Then it says, continues, the people of Koilandi did not know anything about Nityananda after the passing away of Ishwaraya. Koilandi is the place where all these things happened, where Bhagwan was found and all those things. He grew up in all that place. And Koilandi is down from here, KANHANGAD. Koilandi is after Vadagara and Talasheri. And Koilandi is where Achar Baba used to sit. Very close to that ashram. Ashram where Bhagwan Nityananda's ashram is there. Hardly 10 minutes walk from the ashram was where Achar Baba used to sit. Koilandi. His samadhi is there now. So the people of Koilandi did not know anything about Nityananda after the passing of Ishwaraya. Years passed and one day some agricultural laborers in Koilandi were crossing the railway track to reach the fields on the other side. It was then that one among them, Kannan by name, fell down with an attack of epileptic fits. Many others gathered around him trying to revive him. Then they saw a dark, lean man approaching. Because nobody knew about Nityananda after the death of Ishwaraya ji. And then this incident happened and suddenly they see a dark, thin man approaching. He looked like a madman. There was a smile on his face. Immediately, he got near Kannan and put a pinch of ashes into his mouth. He put vibhuti into his mouth. Immediately, Kannan sat up and he was once again his usual self. The people around were greatly surprised. This was the first Leela. After, the little grown up Nityananda returns. This is when he had attained that state of avadhuta. Though he was born as that and all fine, but the author mentions this is that period where he, like a madman, like an avadhuta, first appeared and this miracle happened. And then the people looked at the man in wonder and one of them said that he was none other than Rama. They recognized him. The boy who had been brought up by the late Ishwaraya and the same boy who left them as Nityananda. No wonder that they had not recognized him. So, after Ishwaraya telling, you are my Nityananda, you are everyone's Nityananda, that was the last people knew, he is Nityananda. Then, after that, he goes to Kashi and then long Burma, Sri Lanka, everywhere, and they have no trace about him. And then, suddenly one day he appears when this thing happens. He is a little grown up by now. So, author says, Nityananda had changed into an avadhuta, totally unaware of his own appearance. And then there are many miracles here which I am not reading because it will take a long time. I am only reading the most important points. Then he continues and says, when he left Calicut, that is Kozhikode, Bhagwan Nityananda. So in between now they are talking about his multiple miracles that he continued doing around in these places in Kerala, where I am sitting in a radius of, let's say, around 50 kilometers. Then they continue saying, when he left Calicut and he reached Talasheri and visited the famous Sri Ramaswamy temple in Tiruvangadu. Now Tiruvangad, see this. I always used to wonder what is the link of Avadhoota Amma, Yogini Amma, who was there in Talasheri with Nityananda. I said no, there's no connection. But I always used to have some mysterious, because Achar Baba Kuilandi. And Avadhoota Amma was still there in the body. She is in Talasheri. And Tiruvangad, exactly in Tiruvangad, her location in Talasheri is Tiruvangad. So here this mention is there. When Bhagwan left Calicut, he reached Talasheri and visited the famous Sri Ramaswamy temple in Tiruvangad. Tiruvangad is right now where Yogini Amma is. The temple priest made it a point to prostrate in front of him every morning. The Gauda Saraswat Brahmins of Talasheri held him in great regard and became his devotees. From Talasheri, Swamiji went to Kannur, which is today known as Kannur, 2 stations away from KANHANGAD. He was always to be seen in and around Swami Matam. Now there is a Swami Matam. Matam means ashram. So this is a very profound place again in Kannur. I have to be there once I'll go there, because here some more details are there. He was always seen to be in or around the Swami Matam. This ashram, Bhagwan was always seen in and around this place. Nearby was the final resting place of another famous Avadhoot. That great yogi's name was Mauni Babaji. Now, I had no idea about this until I read this book. I had read it then, I had no idea, I have forgotten it. But now, this brings another highlight. And that means Bhagwan used to be in and around this place, this samadhi, Jiva Samadhi of someone, a great Avadhoot named Mauni Babaji. So, it is to be noted that the Swami Matam, located in Kannur, attracted many great Avadhutas. Many people have seen Swami Nityananda in that locality and they remember that with devotion in their hearts. From Kannur, Swamiji wandered northwards. He spent some days in Cherukunnu and lived around the famous Annapurneshwari temple there. It was rainy season and one of his devotees wished to offer a room in his house for Swamiji. He went looking for Swamiji and finally found him in the locked room of his own house. So he had a desire to give the room to Bhagwan. And he went out searching for Bhagwan. And when he didn't find him, and when he returned to his home, he found Bhagwan inside his locked home. To the devotee, it was a miracle. The common man does not realize that nothing is impossible for divine being and Avadhuta. He left Cherukannu and reached Kumbla via Payannur, Nileshwaram, KANHANGAD and Kasargod. Payannur is the place where I told that uncle is there, from whom I got this book which I donated back many years back. Kannan uncle. His name also is Kannan. There is this guy's name. This person who had attacked is also Kannan. And Payannur is that place. And then there are some more of his miracles at Kumbla and Payannur, all those things. I am not reading that. I am reading only the significant ones. Avadhoots like Swami Nityananda during that stage of life were not and are not to be judged by the common human standards. They are evidently very, very different from the worldly conceptions of morality, decency, hygiene and behavior. And Avadhoot's pattern of life has been vividly described by Sri Shankaracharya. Now, why is he saying about this decency, hygiene and behavior? Because there is a small incident that I think I'll read that. This is known in other books, it is there, but it might be of interest to you. One day a pregnant woman went to Swamiji with her tale of woe. Swamiji pinched both her nipples and they began to bleed profusely. Now this is a very indecent act according to common standards. The woman began to howl in pain. People gathered around and some of them began to complain bitterly and decided to beat up Bhagwan in retaliation. It was then they heard Swamiji's words. So, some lady went to him with some complaint She expressed she has some problem, some disease or something, and Bhagwan immediately pressed her breast and it began to ooze blood, and she was howling in pain. People got around and obviously wanted to thrash Bhagwan. That time Swamiji, Bhagwan says, 3 of her children are dead. This one will live. Means she was pregnant or she had a baby in hand or something like that. People heard these words of explanation. What he had said proved to be true. 3 of her children, soon after childbirth, as soon as they sucked the mother's breast, had died. So, her earlier children, many children earlier, were continuously dying. Whenever they drank milk from the breast, they were dying. So, this child, newborn child, which was there, survived. So, what Bhagwan did, only he knows. There was something that was there, perhaps a disease or something, and that is why he pinched that part of the lady, which people took for offense. So that is why he says, okay, that child that was born soon after, a son, lived and thrived. When that boy grew to manhood, he became a genuine devotee of Swami Nityananda. The treatment he had administered to the woman was a miracle. Rare miracle. Then he mentioned this. Avadhutas like Swami Nityananda during that state of life were not and are not to be judged by the common human standards. They are evidently very, very different from the worldly conception of morality, decency, hygiene and behavior. And Avadhutas' patterns of life has been vividly described by Sri Shankaracharya. This is words of Adi Shankaracharya. Astita Prajna appears to be a fool. Stita Prajna means Avadhuta. Appears to be a fool, sometimes as a man with brilliant intellect. On occasions he lives in regal glories with royal dignity. But the same man on another occasion wanders in the guise of a madman. At times he is handsome and clean, but at other times he is found lying in utter filth like a python that has had a big feed. He is treated like an honored by the people on occasions, but he is also abused and insulted by other people. Sometimes he wanders, not heeding people around him. At times, deeply engrossed in the bliss of divine Atman, unknown and not knowing the world around, he will wander apparently aimlessly. This is the words from Viveka Chudamani written by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. So the author has done beautiful combinations of Avadhoota Gita, Adi Shankaracharya's words on the Avadhuta or Stita Prajna, and defined it with Bhagwan Nityananda. This gives us an understanding. See, so beautiful. See, I was talking in the start of this video. One is the knowledge that we have. All this Adi Shankaracharya, whatever, is just the knowledge. Avadhoota Gita is the knowledge. But then when that relates with a real life example or experience is when the conviction comes. So I think I'll complete this till 9 o'clock. Now it's 8:40. 9 o'clock I'll close down. Ganpati ji is continuously calling me, I think. Ganpati ji, ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಊಟ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು. Men who wander with the illumination of their divine souls are likely to be misunderstood to be madmen. And that was exactly what happened to Swamiji. Now you can relate when you see Topiamma or the Avadhutas. Any Avadhutas, they look like mad. So that is what they say. They don't come, the author says, they don't come in your preferences or the worldly standards of hygiene, behavior, and all our worldly norms. They don't fit in that bracket. Or even decency. The man on the road can never understand the rare significance of an avadhut. Sri Shankaracharya has said, the man of supreme knowledge and avadhut may look like a drunken man, like a child, or even like a ghost. He may wander aimlessly in this world, naked at times, and at other times clad in rags, or with leaves or barks of trees. This is again from Viveka Chudamani of Adi Shankaracharya. So the author continues, Swami Nityananda was resting under a ficus tree. He was observing a period of silence then. Seeing him thus, some drunkards at that place decided to make Swamiji talk. They played many pranks on him. They failed to make him talk. They would not leave him. One of them tied dry coconut shells around his waist and set it on fire. The dry coconut shells began to blaze. All around Swamiji's waist, the skin was badly burnt. But yet Swamiji appeared to be unaware of it. For the rest of his life, the skin around his waist bore those serious burn marks. This is how the avadhutas get treated also. Because they don't have body consciousness, all these things happen. It's so easy to judge. Like Mukupudi Swami, great avadhuta, who used to live in Sheshadri Swamigal ashram in Tiruvannamalai next to Ramana ashram. I've met him twice. I had his darshan. So he fell or something happened and he broke his bones, and then after that he was in that state. He remained till he left his body. So people wonder, how can a avadhuta fall? Why can't they fall? There are so many things that happen to an avadhuta because they are not in body consciousness. Nothing happens to them actually. They are in that elevated state of consciousness. They don't even feel the pain. Like here, Bhagwan Nityananda, somebody tied coconut shells, dry coconut shells to his waist and put it on fire. And he was not even aware of it. And they say the rest of his life that burn mark was there. And this is how people are. There are so many examples of so many avadhutas who have been troubled like this. I've heard of even Siddhartha Swami of Hubli, the first guru of Swami Muktananda. He was also put on, they put fire on his head. He was a great avadhuta. But nothing happened. I mean, even if it happens, it's a bodily damage, a temporary damage. When Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi came to Tiruvannamalai from Madurai, he just wandered. He entered into Patala Linga in the Arunachaleshwara temple. It's an underground. Even if you go today to Arunachaleshwara, ask anybody where is Patala Linga. They will tell you. So it's an underground linga. There Ramana was first. He came and he went into divine trance, and he was in samadhi for a long period of time. And in the meantime, rats had eaten his feet. It was Sheshadri Swamigal who saw that and who pulled the boy, because it was a young boy. I think he was also 12 years or something. 12 or 9 years old, I don't remember. Sheshadri Swamigal pulled him and brought him and left him to where Ramanashram is now, in the foothill of Arunachala. So you can say Sheshadri Swamigal actually brought him to that where the Ramanashram is right now. So Sheshadri Swamigal played a great role. He was a great avadhuta at that time. So he could recognize the state of another avadhuta. Only an avadhuta can recognize another avadhuta. So there also the body consciousness is not there. Here also Yogini Amma is there now in Talasheri, whom I've met a couple of times here. She is now they have restricted darshan because she is on bed. She had an accident. Somebody hit her. Some vehicle hit her. And this is not the first time. Even previously a bus had hit her and she was very seriously injured. But then she walked out of the hospital after some days. And this time also it so happened. She because they don't adhere to all these things. They are not in that state. So now they are taking very much care. She is on the bed and the house people are not leaving her around because she wanders. She is an avadhuta. So they have restricted only out of love so that they can protect her body. Because the other day I had put it in the mystics, the group. Somebody had sent me a video and I put it here. And then they saw her on bed and somebody said, no, that cannot be an avadhuta because avadhutas don't go and take medical treatment. I said, what nonsense is this? She never asked for treatment. It is the love of the people, caretakers, who take care because they want to preserve that body for some more time. As simple as that. So they will take care of it. And they are the one who is protecting. They don't have any intention. Even Amma wants to wander even now. She tries to get up, she tries to move out. But they don't allow her. Just to protect her. I remember even Osho saying this very much. Somebody had asked, why do you have bodyguards? If you are God, does God need to protect yourself? Osho had given very perfect reply. And Osho was known for that. And nobody could play with him. And however smart or strong he was, he would give him. So Osho was one person who was at that time a person who was very apt for such kind of replies. Sometimes people have to be talked in that language. And rarely people do that, enlightened beings. But Osho did that. So when somebody asked him, if you are God, prove it. If you are really God, then why do you need protection? Why are there so many people who take care of your protection here in the events that happen? And if you are God, then can you make the sun stop? And all stupid things people had asked. So Osho had very beautiful answers to it. He says, I have no interest, I have no business with this. This body, whether I am there in it, I am not there in it, I am in that state of bliss. But the people who love me want to preserve my body because they might get something out of this for some more time. Some more time, thoda benefit ho jayega inka. So I allow it, okay. And if this body can deliver something for some more time, let them preserve it. What's harm in that? Then he asked the wise, intelligent person, very beautifully he asked, I am not God, he said. This is a godly like state, okay, you can say. I have never claimed that I am God. But people caught that, they want to relate that state of consciousness to God, they do that. And that is what we can see. Everybody is called as Bhagwan Nityananda, Bhagwan Ramana, and Bhagwan Osho. That is the reason, because the person who have experience with that, they relate that to godly states. Now, it is so much easy for people like them to come under scanner of judgments. Like if you take Osho, we immediately judge with, he was this, he was that, he was this, he was... Nobody even wants to spend a moment connecting to the consciousness that he had reached. Whatever they do, see, all kind of nonsense has happened in the history. I am not giving this as an excuse or something. What I am trying to say, there are beings that don't come into the brackets of certain do's and don'ts of the society, norms, what we feel. Like Bhagwan pinching the breast of a woman, this is considered absurd in today's world. They will say, no nonsense, you cannot say that that's a godly state. This is not valid, it's not approachable. But see, there was a miracle that happened. And all these things are beyond. So what Osho told that person was, you believe in God. And who is your God? The avatar Purush you say Krishna is your God. You say Rama is your God. And then he asked, if that is your real God, I see your God carrying a bow and arrow. What is a bow and arrow meant for? You say gods no need to protect themselves, but your own definition is conflicting here. He says, I have seen gods with bows and arrows. What is that? So such apt answers, and there is no answers. So stupidity. So all things can be just claimed without understanding, but those enlightened beings can actually shift the whole thing. And there are a lot of answers that he answered, but I don't want to get into that because those are very sensitive kind of topics. Osho was very always in target because of his sensitive talks. And he was very bold enough to say that. So, the author continues, Avadhuta yogis are always immersed in the bliss of Atman. They are free from the bondage of physical and bodily pain. Common men can never understand this phenomenon. Once, see, he's talking about Ramana Maharshi, author. Once Ramana Maharshi had to undergo a serious surgical operation. Doctors insisted that he should be put under anesthesia, but the Maharshi would not agree to that. He told the doctors, you will not be cutting open Ramana, but only Ramana's body. you may do anything on the body. This is what Ramana Maharishi said. The surgical operation went on for many hours. During those hours, Maharishi did not close his eyes, even his eyelids, even for brief intervals. Not even a whimper of pain came out of him. Doctors and devotees were astounded. 5,000 years ago, Sri Krishna said, weapons cannot inflict pain on the soul, on the Atman. Fire cannot burn the Atman, nor can water drench it. Air cannot dry up the Atman. Atman cannot be cut, burnt, wetted, or dried. It is eternal, all-pervading, unchanging, immovable, and ever-existing. The realization of Atman is indeed very, very rare. At Manjeshwaram, yet another incident happened that brought out the great truth about Swamiji, that is Bhagwan. Sri M.A.K. Rao was a great devotee of Swamiji. Sri Rao was celebrating the marriage of his niece. Sri Rao begged Swamiji to be good enough to be present on the occasion and to bless the couple. Swamiji agreed and he attended the marriage ceremony. He was given a seat of great honor. Who? Bhagwan. In those days, there was a very great magician whose fame was such that his name was a household word in South Canara. Now this is about that magician. Everybody knows the story, but I am just reading it because there are some more details in this. He was Appaya Alva. Wherever he went, he had to be treated. This was a black magician. Wherever he went, he had to be treated as the most important guest. Or else he would get angry and play some kind of dirty trick on the people concerned. So people were scared and they gave him the bigger seat. On one occasion, a music concert had been arranged in the house of a well-to-do person in Mangalore with a musician from Bangalore. Appaya happened to be in the town and intended to attend the concert, but was unfortunately stopped at the gate by someone who did not know him. He went away in great wrath, in great anger. When everything was ready, the famous musician was unable to sing. The concert had to be abandoned. You understood what happened. So Appaya had such powers. He heard that Swami Nityananda was present at the marriage ceremony and he wanted to prove that he himself had great occult powers than Swami Nityananda. He took it for granted that Swamiji was a hoax and that he could expose the Swamiji and prove to the world that Swami Nityananda was nothing compared to Appaya. With this end in view, he went and sat near Swamiji, near Bhagwan. He then rolled a tobacco leaf with his hands for some time, apparently using a mantra, and forced it into Gurudev's mouth. He put it into Bhagwan's mouth. Gurudev told him that he did not want. Bhagwan said, I do not want it. The host, Mr. Rao, also requested Appaya not to insist Swamiji to eat it. By then, Appaya had lost his senses, means he got very angry, and he forcibly thrust it into Gurudev's mouth. Without exhibiting any displeasure now, without any opposition, Swamiji chewed the tobacco leaf and swallowed it. Bhagwan did that. Soon after Swamiji ate it, he did perspire a little, means he had little sweat, Bhagwan, after eating it. But then Appaya began to writhe in great pain. His stomach began to bloat. His friends who had accompanied him made immediate arrangement to shift him to the government Wenlock Hospital at Mangalore. They did their best to save him, but on the third day he died, not regaining consciousness. So died Appaya, who was the cause of fear and terror in South Canara. Many years later, in 1953, some of his devotees asked Swamiji about this incident. Swamiji's answer was cryptic when he said, circumstance and consequence, that's all. So when people try to ask about Appaya, what had happened, etc., 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 he didn't go into all that details. Bhagwan only said, circumstance and consequence, that's all. Circumstance, paristhiti. Consequence, natija. Cause and effect. Karmic, that is what he was pointed. That's all. Mantras and tantras, magic and black magic, when they confront the innate divinity in great avadhutas like Sadguru Nityananda and such others, proved to be of no avail. The Avadhoota Gita tells us, the avadhuta never knows any mantra in Vedic meter, nor any tantra. This is the supreme utterance of the avadhuta, purified by atmic consciousness and merged in the sameness of infinite being. This is the reference from Avadhoota Gita, saying that the avadhuta never knows mantra or tantra in any form. And what they utter is the final word that is purified by the Atmic consciousness, that is merged in that infinite being. When the author continues, when magic and black magic confront great masters who have realized the Atman, they lose their power and are of no effect. That those who have realized the truth and have attained the state in which there is only divine manifestation are sometimes challenged to prove their worth is indeed laughably stupid. There can be no sense in such challenges, and it is dangerous too. So this was a very clear incident. We know about this incident, but this had a little more vivid details. So there are some more miracles. Then he further continues. Continuing his northward trek, Swamiji reached Mangalore. He was still on his avadhuta phase of life. Many of his devotees accepted him as an incarnation of God. Gurudev must have been about 30 years of age at this time. One afternoon, Gurudev went to a devotee's house. That evening, rumor went around that Gurudev had gone into permanent samadhi, means left his body. Devotees and others gathered around the house. They saw him sit in the Padmasana pose. They were keen to know whether he was dead or alive. They did the common test with a cotton wool and mirror to check if the breath is there. Some fetched some doctors. The doctors could not detect any sign of life in him. Finally, it was decided that Guru Dev had expired, left the body. The house owner described the sequence of events. Swamiji had come, and after a while, the house owner told what had happened. He says Swamiji just came, and after a while, he took the Veera Padmasana pose, and then the devotee noticed him experiencing some kind of contortions, some kind of movements, some jerky movements. And then he saw a divine kind of light on the wall behind where Bhagwan was sitting. After that, his body went cold and rigid. The devotees who had gathered were in great grief and utter sorrow. Many of them returned to their homes, grief writ large on their faces. Very sad, they went back home. But the house owner and a few others wanted to wait and observe developments for the next 3 days. They said they were dealing with Sadguru Nityananda. Their opinion prevailed. And it came to pass that they were right. In the evening of the third day, they noticed some movements on his body. After some minutes, he became fully conscious. When he opened his eyes, his look and his facial appearance were peculiar. He appeared as though he did not recognize any of them. The house owner, devotee, and others, seeing these developments, were beyond themselves with inexpressible joy. So Bhagwan they had presumed that he is dead because there was no pulse, no breath movement, nothing. They tested everything and they found that even doctors said he's gone, he's expired. So somebody wanted to wait for 3 days and said, let us wait, because what we are dealing is not an ordinary person, he's Sadguru Nityananda. And it proved right. On the third evening, they saw some movement, and then he opened his eyes, and he was looking very peculiar, and as though he is not recognizing anybody. See, these are states of deep samadhi. When somebody is coming out of deep samadhi, they have no clue even to who they are, where they are, what is around, and they can't relate to anything because they have come out from a space of beyond time and space into a reality of space and time. So it takes time. I can vouch for this because I've seen Mahatmas doing this. I've experienced them coming out of samadhi, and I've seen Siddhapaji in weird states. We used to wait for him, and he used to be in samadhi, and then when he used to come, it took him a lot of time to even realize who's what. Even that, even my own Gurudev, I've seen him when he was in very deep trance. He was, we were talking to him, and we were, he was in his home upstairs in deep samadhi, and I had come with one of my friend, one of the employee, to meet my Gurudev. Some work was very important, and I had just returned from Chidambaram, and Gurudev was aware that I had gone to Chidambaram, and my Kashi visit, all were together. So he was in deep trance that time on top. I didn't know it that he is in trance, but I only came to know that Gurudev is coming, so I just have to wait. So I was waiting. We had some work, and I wanted his opinion on something, and I was sitting waiting there in the reception. And after I think 15-20 minutes, Gurudev came down. Jitendra Bhaiya was with him. He was helping him to come down, and I could see Gurudev could hardly walk. So, and he needed complete help, and Jitendra ji was holding his hand and walking, and he was as though he is not in this world. And then he looked at me from far, and he came staring at me, and this is the first time I ever saw him that way, so even I was confused what is happening. And he came literally looking at me like this, and then he asked, where is Surindarji? He was my colleague, and he was standing next to me. I said, Babaji, he is here. Where? He was looking at me. Where? I said, here, next to me. And he was literally looking this way, as though blind. So I couldn't understand what's happening, because I was not familiar to all these things. And it took me some time. I thought, oh my God, what has happened to him? And I was looking, and then he looked here and there, and then he said, Chalo. And he just walked, and he walked to his chair, and he was helped to sit in that chair, and then he was in a trance-like state, completely in trance. And then we were sitting, waiting for him to talk something, and then he was little, he had consciousness, very little consciousness. So by the time he realized I was sitting, and he was trying to, he was saying, Bolo. Then I told him I came from Chidambaram Gurudev. He said, he knows. Mauj hai, bole ka mauj. And then I was talking to somebody, he couldn't relate. He was like, and looking here and there and again. So we had to wait for a lot of time for him to come down to that state and be in that. So this was one time, and another time he was in his room, his bedroom, and he was in deep state of trance. He was in samadhi, and he had just come out, and he was Alok Bhai was there, and through Alok Bhai he had called me, and when I had gone out, he was there in the bedroom, and he was again in that trance. So he was talking weird things and irrelatable. See, this is what happens. Like if you have seen patients coming out of anesthesia, whenever surgery has happened and they are given anesthesia, and after the surgery, when they are coming out of that anesthesia, they talk all weird things. So you cannot make out, you feel they have gone mad or something like that. But it's the effect of that, the anesthesia weaving off. So this is the kind of anesthesia. Samadhi is that kind of anesthesia. When they're coming out of that zone, so they are wavering in that. And then he looked at me, and then he was saying something, and I was busy reading those days Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's books, and I used to be always reading, and in that form, and always in that connected so deeply to Ramakrishna and his experiences and all that. So I presume Gurudev was aware. I know he is aware. So that was that time. So when he looked at me and he said, तुमको माँ को experience करना है? He asked, do you want to experience the mother? And he was again lost. I was saying, yeah. And then he said, I'm going to Bali, and she's there. He was only saying that much. वो है उधर. She's there. And I was trying to figure out what. She said, she's Jagrit. And she said, तुम तैयार हो जाओ, मैं ले जाता हूँ तुमको, मिलवाता हूँ वहाँ से. So that Tayyar ho jao, I was thinking my visa and all those things. So I said, okay, Babaji, my papers are coming. But he meant some other kind of tayyari. Anyways, so these are my experiences of how I've seen Mahatmas coming out of that samadhi. Even avadhuts like Siddhapaji and all that. Coming out of takes, and when I read this, I was, oh my God. So Bhagwan Nityananda is also same state, what they've explained. What I said, the wisdom that we had and personal experiences. When we have both of it, we have conviction. So I'm sharing this for conviction purpose. Nothing else but for conviction purpose. Because I don't remember sharing this anywhere. So, what's the time? Oh, it's 9 already. Okay, just let me complete this and... So this is what I was saying. He appeared as though he did not recognize any of them. The house owner, devotee and others seeing this development were overjoyed. After a couple of hours of rest, listening to the repeated inquiries made by his disciples, Gurudev said as follows, because they were asking, what happened? And he is not a storyteller. But on the insistence, he made a few lines told. He said, this one went for a very good purpose, means he had left his body for good. This one could meet many great souls. They insisted that this one should go back immediately. See, this is the state of Bhagwan. He never said I should go. He said this one. So he says he had left for a very good purpose and he could meet many great souls on that elevated plane of consciousness. And then they insisted, all those great souls insisted that he should go. Nityananda should go back immediately. He uttered the names of, now who are those great souls? He uttered the name of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Wow, exactly whom we are talking about. Swami Vivekananda and also Swami Ramatirtha. With a particular emphasis given to that. See how detailed this person has written everything. Ramatirtha, Swami Ramatirtha, he gave a little emphasis. Oh Bhagwan. After that, Gurudev did not mention a word about that incident. Now, in another book I had read, same, but the version was that people were insisting and Bhagwan was coming out of that zone of consciousness and he was still not in that full anesthesia effect. So, half listening, he was giving answers to them. You know, this one had left and I saw the Guru Mandala, it was Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Ramatirtha Swami, and then suddenly at that moment he started becoming more conscious of the people around. And when he became conscious, he stopped speaking. After that, people insisted, but he never spoke a word. As you hear also, he says he never spoke a word about that. After that, he mentions Ramatirtha Swami, Swami Ramatirtha. I am amazed when I was reading this in the train. I got jitters because Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Swami Vivekananda, he met, and also Ramatirtha Swami. Swami Ramatirtha is the same location which I had shared from the Himalayas. Swami Ramesh had taken us to that rocks on Ganga Tat in Rishikesh. This Swami Ramatirth's place is Rishikesh. On the banks of Ganga, he did his penance there. He was a great Advaitin. Perfectly Advaitin, complete Vairagi, completely renounced the world and deep penance and perfected avadhuta on the banks of river. So Swami Ramesh, see, I don't know why all this, it's a good synchronicity. Swami Ramesh, I don't know why he took us there. He recited poetries and he took us to the cave. He showed us the cave inside and the rock from which Swami Ramatirtha had jumped into the Ganga. Because he had attained that state. Now he was telling what to do with this body. I want to give it up. No more. You know, that is what happens when avadhutas are in this state. When they have reached that state, body is of no use to them. Then they are not interested in anything else. Whatever they can do, okay, fine. If it is there, fine. Other not there, fine. So Ramatirtha Swami was in that state. So telling that from the rock, he jumped into the Ganges. The Ganges was at very height. This was explained to me by Swami Ramesh in Rishikesh. He said he flung himself into the river, take this body away. But Mother Ganga threw him out thrice. He attempted thrice and he was thrown out of the river into the dry shore. Means that was not accepted by divinity. It was not his time yet. Same, you can see Nityananda. He left his body. He wanted to go, but he was returned back. Your time is not up. Please go back. So that is what happened to Swami Ramtirth also. Ganga threw him back. And then he continued living for some more years. And then when he was once in deep samadhi, when the whole purpose was really served, Ganga water only raised and came to his cave and took him. The Jala Samadhi happened. So this is the same Swami Ramtirtha that Bhagwan is referring to. Only 3 people's name he took: Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Vivekananda and Swami Ramtirtha. So continuing, once Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had stated that great rishis after their physical death in the world had their being in the sphere of Siddhaloka. He had said that both he and Vivekananda had appeared in the world from that sphere. Okay. So he is referring to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also, where Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had very clearly told Narendra, Swami Vivekananda, that you are not from here, don't worry. Because Vivekananda was always confused. And Ramakrishna Paramahamsa reminded him, you are not what you think you are. You don't know who you are. Then he told him, he had to give him a glimpse. Because Vivekananda Swami was not still in his full bodha. He was not completely realized of his soulfulness. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa told him that when I was in deep samadhi, Siddhaloka, I forgot. He was a great rishi. Rishi Naren. Swami Vivekananda is Rishi Naren. He was sitting in Siddhaloka, and from there he comes down, and then he has this desire to come to the world and serve and all those things and all that, and then it was granted. It was granted, and then they both came. I don't know what was Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. If you Google it, you will find it out. So that's how they both descended to the earth for the divine purpose. So Ramakrishna reminds Vivekananda, you are not Narendra, you are Rishi Naren. And you had come and requested in Siddhaloka. That is why you are here. So that is what he is talking here. So at this sphere, that is a Siddhaloka, these things happen. So indirectly he is indicating that Bhagwan had gone to Siddhaloka. And they have come from there. This incident in the life of Gurudev was identical with a very similar happening in the life of Sri Shirdi Sai Baba. See? All similarities. In the year 1886, Shirdi Sai Baba also went into a temporary samadhi like Bhagwan Nityananda and came back to life after 3 days. Exactly same incident. In his case, he told his trusted devotee Malsapati that he should be in complete charge of his body for 3 days. And if on the 3rd day, if at a particular time he did not come back to life, Malsapati was to bury the body. Baba showed the disciple an open place nearby where he is supposed to be buried. After this announcement, Baba fell down on the floor. Who? Shirdi Sai Baba. And lost his senses. He lost his consciousness. There was no breathing, neither there was beating of the pulse. See, exactly same resemblance to this incident of Bhagwan Nityananda. It was clear that life had deserted his body. His devotees gathered around for a last look of their master's mortal remains. They got ready to arrange for the burial, but the faithful Malsapati held his own opinion and would not allow anybody to lay the hands on the master's body. He kept the body in his lap and held on to his body for 3 whole days, not moving an inch from the spot. On the 3rd day, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Sai Baba showed signs of life. There was some movement in his lower abdomen. He opened his eyes and began moving his hands and legs. He became conscious and sat up. His devotees were overjoyed. During those 3 days of temporary death, what all worlds and spheres Baba must have visited. Baba declared that he had to accord to countless devotees in the mortal world, and that was the reason why he had to appear again after Samadhi. Same incident, he was sent back. Those words of Shirdi Sai Baba were literally true in the case of Sadguru Nityananda also. It was his mission to give succor and solace to countless devotees to lead them out of mortal darkness and illusion. To such a master, untimely death could never happen. So, Shirdi Sai Baba also is narrating. See, it's the same. Pratama Datta Rupa Hoshi, Ditiya Sripada Hoshi, Tritiya Narahari Hoshi. If you read the Jai Jai Arati Nityananda, there he is talking about so many forms of Dattatreya in various forms. There he also talks about Shirdi Sainath Hoshi, Akkalkote Swami Hoshi, Akkalkote Swami Samarth also was he only, Sai Baba was he only, and then in Kali Yuga, after him, Nityananda. Kali Yugi Nityananda Manashi. So it's the same format, all of the Dattatreya tradition. So the resemblances and all these stories also. Shirdi also is one place, hard power spot if you can do that, but you will have to explore a little bit. I am not very familiar to that place, but I know it's a very powerful place. It can give you quantum leap. Even in my last visit, there was a quantum leap in consciousness. If you are aligned to that place and that being of that place, Jagrat place, it can give you a quantum leap in your consciousness. It can suddenly give you a jerk in your consciousness. I have had this experience, I have shared in my couple of visits, last couple of 3-4 visits in Tiruvannamalai, quantum leaps. And then here, it happens. Gurudev was not in the habit of writing learned discourses. He did not believe in religious lectures either. Who? Bhagwan Nityananda. In solemn silence lay the master's explanation. In pregnant silence, the doubts of disciples forever cleared. Okay, this is a poetic verse. Oh, this was said by Lord Dakshinamurti. In solemn silence lay the master's explanation. Masters, the Guru's explanation, the real explanation is in real silence. In pregnant silence, the doubts of disciples. See, in pregnant silence means it's not fully silent. Pregnant silence. The doubts of disciples are in that pregnant silence, not yet born. And that is cleared by the solemn silence of the Master. Forever it is cleared, it says. Dakshinamurti, the Lord of silence, who gave Diksha, who gave wisdom, all knowledge in silence. So that is why Ramana Maharishi is known to be the form of Lord Dakshinamurti. Because Ramana preached maximum through his silence. People had profound experiences only in silence. His satsangs were always in silence. Only to the curious he answered. To the deep seekers of truth who knew the value of silence, just sat in his vicinity and they received the Lord. That is what is happening even right now. Because he is not gone. His presence is still there. So those who know the value of this silence, those who know the science of silence, if they are tuned to that silence, they are attuned to that consciousness. And they receive through that consciousness. So thus was said by Sri Dakshinamurti. This was the case of Sadguru Nityananda also. In his silence lay the eternal speech that went straight to the soul, the Atma. People who gathered round him experienced it. Their outlook on life totally changed. By the unique language of his silence, he converted many of his devotees into men and women who could peep into their own souls and thus become good, honest, pure people who became capable of self-realization. Sri Ramana Maharishi says, that state which transcends speech and thought is maunam. Maunam means silence in Sanskrit. Silence is ever speaking. It is perennial flow of language interrupted by speaking. For words obstruct this mute language. Silence is ever speaking. He says, silence is always speaking. That vibes of silence through consciousness, it is always speaking. In awareness, when you are aligned and aware, you get the messages. The silence is speaking continuously. It is a perennial flow of language. It means a consistent flow of language, non-stop, infinite, which is interrupted by speaking. The words interrupt that level of that transfer of that wisdom. Words obstruct this mute language. Mute language. Beautiful words. Words obstruct the mute language. What is the mute language? Language of silence. My Gurudev used to always say, listen, tune to the language of silence. He used to always say this. Attune to the language of silence and speak and listen through this language of silence. That is the Mauna. So when I was in my Gurudev's presence, I remember I hardly spoke to him on all those 7-8 years of anything of spiritual value or my personal values. All that we spoke was work. So rest of the time when there was spiritual work, when I needed something or something, I attuned to the language of silence because I knew his language. What does he mean? So whenever I used to see him sitting in meditation or something, I used to just go and sit down. No asking questions, no telling nothing. Sometimes half an hour, 1 hour, just there. And sometimes when I open my eyes, he's not there. Or sometimes when I open, he's still there. And I have to continue with my work, so I continue. So this was the attuning to the language of silence. Bhagwan would tell his devotees. Oh, it's 9:15. I think I'll continue till the time I can because I think few of you are connected very well. So till you and me can go ahead, I think I'll go ahead with it. So Bhagwan would tell his devotees, beautiful words these are. You are taken care with the eyes of a tortoise. What does this mean? He says, all the devotees who are connected with Nityananda are taken care through the eyes of a tortoise. Means Kurma Drishti. Kurma Drishti means what? Kurma is tortoise. Tortoise lays its eggs on the banks of the river. It lays outside on the banks of the river and goes miles into the ocean, into the sea. It goes down into the ocean, miles apart. But tortoise or the turtle is such a being that is gifted by nature that can keep a kurma drishti on the eggs. Anywhere it goes, miles into the ocean. It can watch the eggs through the eyes. That is an internal eye. It is said that even the tortoise eats its eggs from distance. That is why the Guru's drishti is always referred in spiritual science as the Kurma drishti. The Guru watches his disciples through this Kurma drishti from far and even hatches the eggs. Takes care. That is what here Bhagwan is telling. Bhagwan would often tell his devotees, you are taken care with Kurma drishti or the eyes of a tortoise. So the author says, thereby he alluded to the belief that a tortoise from a distance would concentrate on its eggs and make them hatch. Only great Sadgurus have the ability to concentrate on their devotees at far off places and make them capable of self-realization. At times, Gurudev would tell some of his keen devotees, listen to this, the study of books does not accomplish much. The wisdom of the brain is very important. More than that is important, the nectar of wisdom that is gained through sadhana or the spiritual meditations. This is what I was telling in the start. What can be gained through the spiritual practices can never be gained through the bookish wisdom or the intellectual understanding of things. It has to come from the personal spiritual understanding, practices, experiences. To some special devotees, he once said that Swami Vivekananda has said and taught all that was worth saying and teaching. He did not leave anything for others to preach. See, he has such high regard for Swami Vivekananda. Some keen devotees, special devotees, Bhagwan once narrated somewhere that Swami Vivekananda has said all that is worth saying. There is nothing left unsaid. There is nothing left unsaid to preach anymore. So, that is a great indication of Swami Vivekananda's work. Once to a party of sincere devotees, he said, this sincere devotee, who said? Bhagwan Nityananda. study the Gita, learn renunciation means vairagya, concentration means ekagrita, and maintain a clean, pure bhavana means shuddha bhavana. And to the introvert sadhaks, see, he told this to the extrovert sadhak, those who are bahemukhi all the time. To them he said, study the Gita, learn renunciation, concentration, ekagrita, and maintain shuddha bhavana, pure intentions. Okay? Niyat, what we were saying the other day. And to the introvert sadhaks, those who are introverted, Gurudev would always advise practice intense deep meditation. Means go into dhyana. For all those who are introverted, he only told go within, deep within. Go into that meditative state. Go into deep spiritual contemplation. And that no thought state, that samadhi. Enter into that state. To the extrovert he said, study the Gita, learn renunciation, concentration and shuddha bhavana. So here there is little more clarity. I never knew this. This teaching split in two words. Because my Gurudeva always used to talk about shuddha bhavana. And he used to always refer, my Guru always said. But here we have more clarity. Shuddha bhavana is given to more to the extroverted sadhakas, and to the introvert sadhakas, Gurudev would always advise practice intense, deep dhyana. Gurudev has given, okay, these all are about Chidakasha Gita and all that. It says that he gave all the Vedanta knowledge in Chidakasha Gita, and during that period, while he was talking to Tulsi Amma, he was then a wandering avadhuta in Mangalore. So during that period, it often happened that he would go into trance. During such experiences, divine experiences, he would speak out, Uncle Arjuna, come here. Listen to what Grandfather Krishna has to say. Nithyananda's expressions. Uncle Arjuna, come here. Listen to what Grandfather Krishna has to say. So it's like he has taken the form of Krishna and he's talking to his devotee who is Arjuna. I believe he's referring to Tulsi Amma. He would repeat these words again and again, and there would follow a veritable flow of nectarine words in Canaries. Canaries is a language in Kannada, I think referring to Tulu. Words full of yoga, Vedantic and spiritual wisdom. A very devoted devotee whose name was Tulsi Amma, with great attention and difficulty, took them down and published a book which is, after obtaining the permission of Gurudev, which he called Chidakasha Gita, and it was published in 1929. According to sage Vashishta, Chidakasha is Shunya, a state of blankness, nothingness is Chidakasha. This is what Vashishta Mahamuni has explained, is what the author is referring here. Or the state of Turiya. Anyone who has the spiritual growth in him to declare that he is pure stainless consciousness, that he is the essence of pure bliss, need not suffer in any way in this world. Such a blissful state is Chidakasha. This is Vashishta Mahamuni's definition of Chidakasha. The way to attain such a state of infinite bliss is explained in Chidakasha Gita. Author says this. It has been translated into Hindi. Okay, fine. Okay, so he is now talking everything about the Chidakasha Gita. Yes, I was able to read till here in the train. This is my train sadhana, what I did. So I was reflecting on all these things and I said I'll revert back, and I'm still only just, I think, 30 or 40% of the book. The other I have to just go through, and wherever I mark what is important, I will definitely make note of it and continue it in another session, which might be mostly when I return back to my home. So, Dhiru, this book is not available. This is the only book. It is a rare book, and I have been searching it for a long time, for many years, and in the starting of the video I said this book miraculously came into my hand just one day before leaving to KANHANGAD. So that is how I take it. That is what I told in that video. I take it as a message that this has to be somewhere shared. I feel that's my interpretation. Whatever it is, if it is my interpretation also, it's fine. Because for me it is miracle. Just one day before, and the train that I booked, due to the train I remembered that person, uncle, and I called an uncle and he said, I am in that office, you come there. And I went to meet him and he showed me the library and he said, you had gifted 10, 12 years back many books and those books are here, look, we have preserved everything. He just wanted to say, you never come here, look at, everything is preserved, okay? We have taken care of your book. That is what uncle was laughing and telling. And when I look, I just slide the door and this book is there. And when I take it and I see eternal entity. I said, Ravindran ji's book, I was searching this. Then I told him, I'm taking this book. I'm borrowing this book because now it's a part of the library. I'll borrow it and I'll make all the notes and I'm going to preserve it. I'm not going to give this book, I said, because it's only one copy. So the ashram ran out of print many years back. I have been pleading the ashram, the KANHANGAD ashram, about this book, but they said they have no trace of it. I asked everybody, but it was not there. So I hope this book comes out. Some more things are there. Ravindran ji is, I don't know if it is Ravindran or P.K. Nair, his father. I have little confusion. I'll refer to that because I believe even his father was a great devotee of Bhagwan Nityananda. So what he has written is, because he was in KANHANGAD, this author was in KANHANGAD and he lived with Bhagwan Nityananda. So what more authentic can it be? So he wrote these gems which were not addressed in any other book, because I believe he had copyrights of this book which he gave to the ashram, the copyrights. That also is given in the start, that the copyright is given to the ashram. So probably nobody borrowed this and printed it elsewhere because this belonged to him. So these are some rare details from here. Binduji, how many days will you be here? I am there for tomorrow only, Binduji. Tomorrow I will be leaving. Don't tell me you are coming here. You are somewhere in Kerala, right? Bhavani, yes. Binduji, just reached Kannur. Kannur is not very far, Binduji. Then please come over. I will be glad to meet you here. Tomorrow I am here till 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock is my train. And if you can come till then, before, just let me know. You can drop a message here in Messenger because I don't know where I'll be here, which part. We can catch up here if you're coming to the ashram. It will be nice to meet you. I've only seen you online for so many years and very consistent on this platform of shifting into awareness. Definitely, the people who are spending genuine time here on the platform, shifting into awareness, there have been incidences where they wanted to meet or something. I definitely go out of the way to meet them because I'm very thrilled and excited and very happy when I'm aligned to something and when I'm trying to share. If they find it useful in their life journey and they appreciate that, and they not just appreciate it and talk about it, but they have brought a very good transformative change in their life. They talk about it and it can be seen also, the change in their life. So this platform shifting into awareness, when it is helping that way, I would not hesitate to meet you. Nowadays I am a little open to that. I don't know, I might be in Bangalore also after the end of this trip. It's a long trip, I'm going to be 1 week out anyways. So I don't know where all. Tirunamala also probably, and from there either it might be Goa or Goa. I've got many friends waiting all this time asking me there, and Bangalore also. I don't know, let me just fix it out. So yeah, Binduji, if it's possible, please come over. So this is happening, and many friends, wherever I'm traveling, it's a coincidence we are meeting. Otherwise also, I'm planning for satsangs like this. I'm just waiting for to talk to the authorities, because if we meet and have live in awareness, because I don't want to teach and preach anything here, because there is nothing. It's a Jagrit place. I just want to share how to align there, and if it is happening in the presence, beautiful. I mean, if it is supposed to happen, they will let it happen. So if something like that comes up, which I am planning even in Tiruvannamalai, more than I am planning, people are planning and they are already planned. They have plans and they are telling you, come, we'll do it this way. So things are falling that way in place. If that is so, it might happen in KANHANGAD also. This is one place I always wanted to do, but it's not so. There are restrictions because this is ashram, so there are certain things to be taken care of, and especially the stay and all that. And these places are very silent zones and all that. So this ashram is not appreciated even from before. A lot of noise and curious seekers and visitors. Like you park your car here and you go out to see, or you come here, take a room here and go out sightseeing and shopping. And, this code of conduct is there even in Ramana Ashram. Once upon a time they used to give rooms inside, now they have stopped completely. And now also, until they are not very sure of your intentions, of your seriousness with the ashram, of your seriousness in the spiritual practices, of your commitment to your spiritual journey, they will not entertain, which is a very beautiful thing. I appreciate such things because genuine people are then encouraged, and that's how many people get rooms there and they stay there. I haven't approached them in that manner because aaj tak zarurat nahi padi, but there are long-term people who stay there for a long time and who have no distraction. And I believe last time I read it, there's a clear board written in Ramana Ashram also. Please do not ask for rooms here and come here and then bring a group, or then all the group go for sightseeing and visit temples around and here and there. That's not encouraged. Only if you are here contemplative and doing your practice in one place, then you are. So basically it's about discipline. So 10 years back, unknowingly I was doing this because I used to just put it on Orkut. Those days Facebook was not there. Orkut I used to put, and I am going there. And going there I used to only tell and nothing else. I had no idea. And then suddenly I would see 15 to 20 people or sometimes even 25 people who arrive here, and then 3 days, 2 to 3 days we spend all together. Those days it was very random. Even I don't know what I was doing. They didn't know what they are doing. We didn't know what we are doing. But it was all great experiences that we had. Very profound divine experiences. And then it so happened, then it was open to everybody and everybody came. So some were serious, some were not serious, some were disciplined, some were not. So some were breaking the rules of the ashram, and most of the time they were out or they were not in that. So all those things, and then it becomes the responsibility of the person who's taking. Then I didn't want to fall into all that brackets, because then if anybody questions, then it will be. I didn't want. I wanted really people to first know people who are there and all that, before we get into all these things. So I was a little careful, and then I dropped those things. I dropped even publicizing my going. Then I started my alone travels. I did 3 times here in KANHANGAD with group, and once in Tiruvannamalai with a big group, and that was the end of it. Because in Tiruvannamalai also I saw it was very distractive, and people wanted to eat, freak out, visit temples, go here, there, and very less of meditation. And even while climbing the hill they were talking. That talk is one thing. If you can't stop your talking at that time when you are in that mode, then it's very difficult. Here also today I was in the cave, 44 caves. I was meditating, and I saw some family members sitting there in meditation. I don't know deep or what, but I was my 4-5 caves that side I was sitting, and then 15-20 minutes I was not even gone deep. They finished their meditation, and the moment they finished their meditation, the first movement I could, because in the caves you can hear very clear the bone cracking, the legs when you get up, cut. So suddenly it came to my awareness, that noise, because it's very, and then suddenly there was talking, blah 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 blah. Suddenly all worldly things, all about house and going here and there, what to do next. Sitting there only. Imagine not even 1 minute you have come out of meditation, and this cannot stop. Unfortunate. Now I am not criticizing, I am comparing and telling this. We must understand, if we are serious, very much aligned we got to be with that place. If you are not aligned with the place, then it is sightseeing, it is picnic. If you are not aligned with that place. So wherever you go, you have to be completely aligned, you have to be in awareness of that place. Awareness, I don't mean when you sit in the cave only, or when you climb up the hill on Arunachala. No. 24/7 you are alert, conscious, aware being. When you are in that aware being, you don't feel like eating, talking, doing nothing, but just being. And that place is Jagrat. Then that infiltrates the consciousness, that merging happens in that space. That gives you that effect which the world cannot give you. The places in the world cannot give you. So it is rare opportunities when you come. You got to be very disciplined. So like-minded, I always appreciate like-minded people who have the same intensity. Like what I have, for example. Because if you are not in that intensity of what I am, then you will distract me. Or if I am not in that intensity of what you are, you might be in very deep intensity. If I am not in that mode, I will distract you. I will end up distracting you. So we will go to places and we get distracted. So the company you keep also matters. It has to be perfectly aligned, because the people who are birds of the same feather flock together. The tribe, you are known by the tribe. Worldly language you say, you are known by the company you keep. Same way, here it is called a soul tribe. So the other day, one of the Westerner friend here in Jake Light, I have many Westerner friends and they always talk in messengers. They don't put any messages here. Somehow they are shy, because the culture and spirituality that we have is very profound. It suddenly shakes up. So they will not understand. What is this? What are you putting that? On your forehead, what is that mark? And on your hand, what is those beads? Don't tell me you got the beads. Are you still into beads, bro? Or what is all this? Are you into all those rituals? The other day somebody accused me when I was writing in one of the groups. Said like, how you're talking something here, and there you are following all the rituals, because there Adi Shankaracharya had told you how many songs, devotional songs you sing, how many worship you do of how many gods, how many places you go, whatever you do, all the religious rituals, whatever you do, until you build up and develop a state of oneness. He said, there can be no self-realization even for eons. Who? Adi Shankaracharya. So I had shared that. So somebody had mocked me saying that you are talking this and you are conflicting. I have seen you singing songs the other day, some bhajans, and then you wear all those things, and I have never seen you keeping a ritual or a ceremony and all that. So that's very conflicting nature. Can you explain? She said. She demanded an explanation. It's very valid. But see, what I am trying to tell you is, we all have our point of views. Now, I am not arguing here. I am trying to prove a point. But I know what I am doing. So I just answered that if you are doing all those things in complete awareness, and what is the message trying to tell? Adi Shankaracharya is trying to tell you do this, it doesn't matter whatever you do. But until that oneness spirit comes, it can never happen. So what he's telling, build that first, the rest all comes later. So I said, you look at my profile today, I just posted about Adi Shankaracharya, Hindu philosophy. Just before that, I posted Jesus Christ messages from the Gospel of St. Thomas. And then after a couple of hours, I posted my own song on verses from the Quran, singing an Islamic text. Maulaya Sallim. I sung that. So I said, there is 3 religions you can see in one day's post. That's oneness. That is the sense of oneness which Adi Shankaracharya is speaking about. Until that comes, until the discrimination goes, nothing is going to happen. Chidakasha Gita of Bhagwan Nityananda, you take and read 110 times. It is pounding the same thing. Break discrimination. Until discrimination ends, there is no progress. Bhagwan Nityananda also says. Discrimination is that barriers, the boundaries where you have me and mine. This is my religion, my caste, my philosophy, my parampara, my guru, my lineage, my cult, my community, my group, my family. Nothing is going to happen. This is what Adi Shankaracharya said. So if you are in awareness and conscious of this oneness spirit, and then I said I am doing it through that oneness spirit, what am I singing? I sang that day, what she heard was Wahi Khuda hai. And what is the message of that song? That everything is one. Oneness. Khuda and Shiva are the same tattva is what I am saying. So singing bhajan, that's not the thing. This is what we must just not catch the grossness of the message. You have to go very deep into it. Then it makes sense. So all these things, what I am trying to talk about here, about different philosophies and all this, I am attuning to this and talking. You can have a medium group with commitment form of all attendees about the discipline. No, we don't want to put discipline. See, that is what I am focusing on is the path of the mystics. The mystics have no paths and they have no rules, they have no boundaries, they have no definitive things. They will not say don't do this, don't do that. Because the moment you do that, you are fallen into another category. Don't do this, do this. What I am trying to say is, this discipline should come from within, without somebody imposing to you. Now, I am not going to go around saying that don't do this, don't do that. But there will be an expectation. And what happened with those groups? I didn't say, no, you got to do this. Next group came, no, there are strict rules, you got to follow this, you got to do this. No, I didn't say, I simply stopped doing that. Because why should I beat my head over all those things? We are here to break even barriers of the do's and don'ts. In Advaitin philosophies, in the field of mystics, even the do's and don'ts go. That is what Rumi said. Beyond all these planes of existence, I will meet you there in that dimension, in that plane where all the do's and don'ts are vanished. There is no do's and don'ts. There is no right and wrong. Rumi said this. Google it. Beyond all these spheres of right and wrong, let me meet in that plane of existence that is beyond the right and wrong. So this is all right and wrong. When we say do, it is right. Do not, it is wrong. But ek maryada hoti hai. There is a certain discipline wherever. There is a certain right and wrong, because somebody said, I was accused in that also. Because if you don't, it's very difficult to understand me. Forget my words, nobody will understand what I am, and you will never get close to it. So they said, you are a person who don't even believe in papa and punya, right and wrong. Then you will do apni man ki marzi, whatever you will do, what tumko kiska bhai hai, you will do. That is nonsense. That is not spirituality. That is not conscious. That is not conscious person. That is not an aware being. That is an animal being. Let me do anything. The idea was, you indulge in something, sense pleasures, you indulge in the worldly activities, you indulge in bhoga, the eating. So, you eat everything. You will eat fish whenever you want. You will eat anything, non-veg or veg. For you, it is not beyond papa punya. You don't say that, I will do this, I will do that. I have told this many times. I have never quit any single addiction, not even smoking, drinking, alcohol, non-veg. I have never said from tomorrow I'll stop. I have only said, if I want, I'll have it. If I don't want, I'll not have it. Simple. Even till today. There is nothing called quit. Do and don't, nahi hai. If it is in my being, if I feel, I'll do it. Because I want to be in that state where all these judgments of papa and punya. It doesn't apply there. Beyond a certain level of understanding, there is no this good and bad. The good and bad is in your mind, and that attracts karma. Your guilt attracts karma. My Gurudev used to always say, have any other expression in your mind. Never have guilt. With guilt, you will destroy everything. Now, I can say that, what do you mean, Gurudev? Means I can do anything and not have guilt? That's stupidity. And because I did not understand my Gurudev, I can ask that. I knew what he was saying. He was saying, even in your beingness, if something goes on happening that way. Don't hold on to that. Oh, I did papa, punya, this and all that. This is all that nonsense in your head. World has created papa, punya. There is no papa, punya. That is what Gurudev had once put a beautiful post. I don't remember his word. He had said there is no right and wrong. It is all your perception. There is nothing called right and wrong in this world. It's all you make it right or you make it wrong. Your ideas. So when you make it wrong or the world makes it wrong for you, you attract a papa karma. Now still the question. So that means you are going to get away with anything? No way. It will not happen that way. But a being in a certain state of beingness, if that happens, that is not infested through the doership or the vasana. Just the vasana alone. There are vasanas and then there is awareness with the vasana. This is still a qualitative karma. You take out awareness and you do the vasana, it is animalistic, pashubha. That is where Osho was misunderstood. If he used sex, he was telling, don't suppress it like mad people, you will be turned a lunatic or you will get into perversion, which is very true. You will become a pervert. Because when your natural tendency is kama, the kama vasana is a very natural tendency, Osho said. You and me are alive because of your parents' kama vasana. How can you call that bad? Rama came into this world, Krishna came into this world because of these vasanas. Now it is not an animalistic one, but it initiated. It is the desire that initiates it. But that desire can be made very qualitative and godly also. So what Osho did was, that vasana, he made it fully conscious and aware, and he turned that act, a beastly act, into a godly act. That is when he said Sambhog se samadhi, or when he said sex to samadhi, people misunderstood him. How can this be nonsense? Because everybody is stuck in the do's and don'ts. This is a sin and that is a sin. And then he said you will go mad. And that is what most in the population are doing. Outside they are, I'm a good person. I am going to follow this. I am not going to get married. I am not going to have any kind of affairs with anybody. I am going to be a single and I am going to control. And then they do all kind of perversions. Their acts are perverted. Pornography and all these things are deep psychological effects of that. What they are trying to suppress, they are expressing in some other way. That is what Osho said. You will get into all those kind of things. Don't underestimate those kind of natural tendencies. It is there, it is godly given. If it was sin and evil, the cosmic intelligence wouldn't have never created it. You have not known how to use it. That's why it's a sin. You are still in those worldly things of, it should be this way, it should be that way, and this and that. Now if you take out consciousness and awareness, and then you get into those acts, then you are Pashu. That is what all the animals do. They don't have awareness. But a being in awareness, when they are doing any kind of act which comes into the worldly do's and don't, it's a different meaning. So even with eating veg or non-veg, it has nothing to do. If you are living in a certain... even there are examples where Bhagwan Nityananda ate meat. Ramakrishna used to eat fish. Lord Jesus used to eat fish. Swami Vivekananda ate meat. Swami Vivekananda was very practical. He said, you won't get self-realization through meditation. If you want self-realization, go play football. Now, we can take it in a literal meaning. What is that? But he was very serious. Then the more serious you become in meditation, you are not going to get there. Go play football. Go enjoy, freak out in this world. Be active. That will keep your body and health active. And he used to say that if your body is calling for meat, eat it. If it is for health, Dalai Lama eats meat today. Buddhist philosophy, completely opposite. Therapeutic reason, he is eating it. So the more we get into these brackets of do's and don'ts, good and bad and all that, it will only keep you stuck. We have not learned from the mystics. So that is why when you follow the path of the mystic, my path is the path of mystic, very clear. It is the neutral path. It is neither this extreme nor that extreme. Too much of suppression beneath, too much of expression beneath. It's middle and it's not getting attached with either of this. That's the balance. Samyak Jivan. Chidakasha Gita talks only about Samyak life, the middle path. That is why Bhagwan Nityananda said, Samyak Bhojan. Neither too less, nor too high. Samyak Vak, even speech, not too much or too less. Everything in normalcy. So he doesn't say don't. He says all fine, but normalcy. See, even if somebody is drinking alcohol, I have seen so many alcohol drinking people. I have met three kind of people in alcohol. One is who suppress, who try to control, no, I will not drink and all that, and they end up doing some nonsense. The other is the extreme drunkards. They'll fall in the gutters. And then there are the wise ones, the neutral. They will have not excess, not less. They will have moderate samyak. And that it's not that moderate every day. Sometimes when the man kiya, okay, no suppressions. Because they understand it is triggering. If they suppress it, there is a problem. If they express it too much and go into it, that's addiction. So those who know don't want to fall into addiction or this perversion, they will be neutral. And they will enjoy that life also. This is true bhoga. This is what my Gurudev explained. When you have your worldly pleasures, your worldly life you're living, live 100% worldly and 100% spiritual. 100% spiritual means not separate zones. People separate it. Evening time they'll say, I'll become spiritual. Daytime I am worldly. No. He said 100%, 100%, 200%, 24/7 you are. Both mixed. What does that mean? Same thing I'm talking, different language. Whatever bhog you are, whatever worldly activities you are in, we are fully involved in it as 100%. I am saying 100% and add that 100% spiritual. Spiritual is awareness. Yoga Kurkarmani, that alignment which is there, consciousness. So this consciousness, this awareness which you have, 100%, and this 100% of your bhog vilas, when you combine it, this bhog is happening in 100% consciousness, means 100% awareness. This is the same thing I am telling in different manner. This is the path of the mystics, what he explained. Samyak, it is the central. So good, I was talking about something and this thing just flowed out of me, so I didn't want to stop it. I realized it's going out of context, but I said it's important, so let me just complete it. This is in reference to retreat in KANHANGAD, since they want a certain... No, this is everywhere. Certain code of conduct is expected everywhere. Here, I told you, because that was not coming to this, and I didn't want to explain myself to the people, not to the authorities. I said, just let's move out of it. Because what I'm trying to say is, when we settle into a certain kind of seriousness, this automatically comes. Without anybody commanding that, hey, nahi karna, wo karna, naturally happens. Like when I'm here, nobody has to tell me the rules. My consciousness knows. Maryada, it knows what to do. Automatically it will attune to that. Wherever we go, anywhere else, we just attune. So that kind of chitta is a ready chitta to receive. The other is distractive. It only gets distracted very easily. It's not yet prepared itself to come. That is why preparation is needed to come into deeper spirituality. To come into Advaita, you need Dvaita. Come into non-duality, you first need duality. Without duality, you are not prepared. That's the challenge. That is not understood very well. We don't know the steps also. We just go into this philosophy. What you are then? Then nothing matters to you. Then you are going to do everything. You have not understood me. And I don't want to make anybody understand. I don't want to explain these things to people. Who am I? Because I am 100% knowing, 100% aware of what I am doing. I am not taking advantage of spirituality or the text when they say everything is fine. So this is what I am speaking. Me means my food habits it was. I am not a regular non-veg eater, but I eat. Whenever I feel like I eat, maybe once in a year, twice in a year, no problem. Once a week, no problem. I don't eat once a week, but I'm telling you, if it comes in my being, I won't stop. I've given this example even while doing Sri Vidya in Chennai. After I think many years, 5-6 years, a strange craving for mutton came up. And my friend was telling, hey, are you mad? What are you telling? 3 days it persisted. Every day Sri Vidya Shivir Karo room ko. When we were going, in the middle there were hotels. And we had to pass through the street. And there was mutton smell. Some vasana must have triggered. Now I am not beating. My friend was beating around the bush because he was Brahmin. Papa, you are doing. I said, why Papa? Hey, Sri Vidya kar rahe ho. It is not. So where it is mentioned or something like that. No, you don't know. Because you are a non-Hindu, you don't know. That way I felt glad I am not one. Because there is so much of already confused philosophies with religions when we put ourselves into religion. It is not that. And then I had. And how did I have? I went into the hotel. I didn't want to have mutton because I was trying to, if it is coming, why should I hurry? But it was very deep. And I was expressing it honestly to my friend who was getting annoyed. And we sat in a hotel, and all the hotels are non-veg only. You don't get only pure. So forcefully we used to sit ourselves and eat only veg in a non-vegetarian hospital. Yeah, Puniji, I am in KANHANGAD. So I used to sit and we used to sit and eat there. So that day also regularly we went there, and some guy saw mushroom, and it looked nice. So my friend ordered something for himself, and I asked the waiter, what is that on that table? He said that is mushroom. I said, get me a plate of mushrooms. I like that. I said, okay, and he went. And then it was all served, food was served in front of us. It was dry mushroom, what I had ordered. So it came dry. So I poked the fork into that mushroom and ate. As I was chewing, it felt very chewy. And I said, this doesn't look like mushroom. And then he looked, that guy looked, what is it then? Again, another piece I took, and I said, this is mutton. That guy was very annoyed, my friend. Called the waiter, what the hell did you do? Who ordered this and all that? And he was like shocked. He said, yeah, I've given you mushroom only. I said, no, this is mutton. And then he looked at it and he was like, he started touching my feet, with one hand. Sir, please don't tell anybody, don't shout, please don't shout. My friend was yelling, my jaw will go, because there it is very serious. Sir. Somebody is a Brahmin and you give, it's very serious. So he was very scared. And he is howling here, my friend is howling there. I said, shut up. First I asked my friend, please. And this guy also, please. And I told the waiter, I'll tip you extra, please, if you can leave right now. But I asked him what happened. And he said, I don't know how this came to you. This mutton that you're eating, dry mutton, was ordered by that table, 3 tables that side. See, they're waiting for it. And you had ordered mushroom. I don't know why I came and kept this thing in front of you. I'm so sorry, sir. I said, I know why you have kept it. You don't worry, you don't know. But I know why you have kept it. Now you please leave, I'll give you extra tip. And I asked my friend, शांत हो जाओ, आपके थाली के अंदर ध्यान दो, और थाली में जो बचा कुचा है आपका खा लो, मेरे थाली में मुझे ध्यान देने दो, मैं इसको रिलीज करना चाहता हूँ. I took every piece and relished every piece without guilt, no guilt at all. And I tipped the waiter, confused waiter, he is completely confused, and he was happy about it. So I told my friend on the way, he was like, I said, that is my vasana, which is lying suppressed and unexpressed. If I suppress this, it is going to cause a big turmoil. Let me bhog it. Let me bhog it, but in conscious awareness. Not like a meat eating, oh, lal tapakre, and then I go and just eat it. No, fully aware, I'm eating meat. But I'm relishing it, but for the moment, I'm just gratifying whatever this body is asking for. So when you do that in awareness, I'm telling you, mind you, when you do it in awareness, you lose interest in it. I 100 times have given this example, dozens of times, of Osho, how he stopped a guy from smoking because he told him the technique, become fully aware of the cigarette and smoke and see, instead of taking 2 minutes, take 2 hours with one cigarette and see what happens. After 2-3 smokes, he had to leave because now the body is gratified. Full consciously, when you are living that, whatever bhog you are having, you are completely satisfied. Why addictions happen? Because you are not satisfied. Why you are not satisfied? Because you have no awareness. Like a pashu, we eat, and then we throw. We don't even think about it. And the body is still, before it could experience, you have put it into the stomach and now it's waiting for another experience. Are you getting it? This is the science. So this is what I am teaching in shifting into awareness. Awareness, I am not going with do this, you do anything. Who cares? You drink alcohol also, that's fine. But I only expect that while you are in the ashram, don't drink it. While doing those practices, you need not drink. But you drink, you are a sinner, you are embraced. If you are a sinner. This path of mystics embraces sinners. Jesus Christ embraced only sinners. Only sinners. Nityananda expressed and embraced only sinners. When somebody asked Nityananda, you are such a great incarnate. Look at the people around him, all this kind of nonsense. Why? Why do such crooks come around the great avatars? I have seen it everywhere. All great Mahatmas have crooks around them. Why? Bhagwan said, मुझे अच्छों की क्या जरूरत है? What is the use of good people to me? Meaning my work is on the weak and the impure, the sinners. Transformation is needed for sinners. Why do I need saints around me? They are already transformed. Jesus had the same philosophy. So we like stoning people to death with the do's and don'ts, society wale. So when people come to give me lecture, I say, go away. You have not understood. You have not come close to this path. You are still in that religious fanaticism. Be there. Learn. After learning only come to understand this. It is very difficult to understand this path. It needs the chitta to be at a certain state. It's very difficult. So you have to prepare yourself to come to that state. So it's very difficult to sit and explain and convince people on that. It is just like I lose my spirituality convincing people. And you tell me, demand an explanation. So sometimes I give where they understand DK. One post, one reply, I tell them. If they are in the mode of argument and debates, I say, tata, bye bye. Oh, you won. Ab jeete. Chalo, no problem. What is there to prove there? I am trying to make you understand with a genuine thing. This is what has happened in the course. You see, everybody is trying to do the same thing only. Stone. There was a prostitute. I don't know, this fan might disturb, but it's getting too hot here. There was this prostitute who was caught by all the town people and they were punishing her. Why? Prostitute. Selling her body, her flesh. So it's a sin. Now, nobody has gone into the depths of sin. There is only because they say it's a sin to do that. And they all are chasing this woman. This woman is running for her life. And Jesus is sitting near a rock on the sand. And suddenly the woman comes and falls there. And the whole crowd is crowded there. And Jesus looks around. What has happened? And then they see this woman is very close to Jesus there. And they all have stones in their hand, ready to stone her to death. And when Jesus looks around at everybody, they say, this woman has sinned. She has done a papa. So now she deserves punishment. She has to be punished. This is what happens when we take law in our hand. Not the worldly law, the divine laws. We want to punish somebody for their wrongness. And who has decided that wrongness? Society. He has never said that. How do we know? Read these scriptures. These mystics will come to know that he has never said all that. Man created it. Now all have stones and all want to now stone killer. And they say, oh Master, you are here. Jesus, you are here. You are an enlightened person. You know everything. You tell now. Has this wretched woman not sinned? Jesus has no opposition. He is writing something on the sand. And then he lifts his head up and he says, let the one who has never sinned strike the first stone. He only says that. Let the one who has never sinned in his life throw the first stone. And then he continues doing what he does. One by one, everybody puts the stones down. The first, the old men put the stone down. Bude jo hai, they drop the stone first. What does this mean? That means they realize that they have also sinned or are sinning in some or the other way. So how can sinners condemn sinners? Jesus was beyond all this papa punya nautanki. But then the woman weeps. She comes and weeps at the feet of Jesus Christ because everybody leaves and she's saved. Jesus just looks at the woman and says, sin no more. That's all. What does he say? Sin no more. Means it was a sin. See the depth of it. But it is not a sin. Means it may have been a misaligned act. But once you realize it is misaligned, then do it no more. Simple philosophy. No thing about healing or forgiving or pardoning or this and that, nothing. You are aligned, that's it. You are realized, you are aware, you are conscious about it, that's it. But to become knowing, to even know that it was wrong to do, you need awareness. So something that doesn't feel very right, like for example, non-veg is not good for the health. Alcohol is not good, we all know that. But then people still do it. Now when you become conscious and are doing it, this is not the ultimate for my health. It has a different effect. It has an awareness that it is not good, but you are still relishing it with a very deep understanding. That makes the change in your consciousness. If you take that awareness away, then you just drink because even if you are aware, you don't care. You just do it recklessly. But now you are aware of it. That awareness that it might not be very productive or conducive to your body and your journey will eventually make it drop. I don't say immediately drop, eventually. That is why my Gurudev said, if you are drinking, don't fall too much into that. Just keep doing your spiritual practices. And that consciousness will change. Don't be in that guilt, oh this is wrong, that is. He never told anybody, don't drink this, don't drink that, don't eat this, don't. I have never heard my Gurudev say, don't eat non-veg. Don't do this, don't do. They will never do that. It's harmful to do that. He was not into any adambars. Oh, I should have my bath and have my sadhana, do my sadhana after having bath. And after having this only, I take my food. Adambaro mein mas paso, he used to say. You have bath or no bath, don't fall into all that. Sit and do your practice. That's all. So simple. The do's and don'ts. Yeah, so that's how I was telling. Adi Shankaracharya ji was also threatened in many ways because he was misunderstood. People said, there is so much conflict in Adi Shankara. I have heard this from big people. Huh? Great beings, I have heard them telling this. And it shocks me. They say, What Adi Shankaracharya? He was always conflicting in nature. He said Advaita, Advaita, Advaita. Everything is one, no dualistic. And he was the main person who had dualistic approach. He taught Shiv-Manas Puja. Lord is in the mind. But there you see, he has a Meru, he has a Shivlinga outside, and he has so much of rituals that he taught the world. Where is he following? What he is teaching? See? Advaita means oneness, and this is all two. Duality, Dvaita, Dvanda. And he said, no Guru, in Nirvana Shatakam, he is the one who said, na Guru, na Shishya. There is no Guru, there is no Shishya in that state. And then he had the most profound Guru Shishya Parampara. Adi Shankaracharya Parampara was very much strong in Guru Shishya Parampara. And then he is only saying in Nirvana Shatakam, this is not there, that is not there. And in Advaita Puja, in Advaita philosophies, Advaita sadhanas, he is talking everything as you. Like in Sri Vidya, Advaita Sri Vidya, there is nothing outside. You are the Meru. Like you are the Shivlinga. Here, in the form of Shakti, you are the Meru, Mahameru. You are the Sri Chakra. Isn't it? Whereas Adi Shankaracharya installed so much of Sri Chakras in so many temples. What is this? Dvaita, again, ritualistic again. There he says everything is one glorified being. I am everything. I am the unmanifest. I am the supreme. I am the Shakti. Everything, the mother. All the forms are in me. And there he is singing Saundaryalari, the beauty of the mother outside. So very conflicting. What my perception showed me, because I never thought from this angle. When a great being, I was shocked when he asked. I don't understand. He was double conflicting. Immediately at that moment, my awareness showed me. It was a step-by-step process. He has made tools for all people. He was not a rigid fanatic. All are Advaita. He didn't treat the whole world all Advaitins. Only Advaita philosophy, only Advaita philosophy. No. He knew that their chitta has not come to that state. So, to purify your chitta, you need dualistic approach. Go for that. He is beyond ashramas. His own statements are, there is no ashrama, there is no one particular place for and he established the 4 ashramas in India. He has described the avadhutas, Viveka Chudamani, if you read, it is all about nullness. Nothing in the Veshbhusha, nothing. But his parampara had this Danda Swamis and everything. I explained when I was in Himalayas that Adi Shankaracharya lineage, Swamiji only told me that this is our lineage and this is our steps of evolution. After this is the Avadhuta state. Even this has to be given. See, there the mystics are calling the Shastra, which you treat as God, Upanishads, Bible, Quran, the Vedas, treated as God itself. Scriptures are treated as God. And there that Himalayan Swamiji of the Adi Shankaracharya lineage tells me Shastra Vasana. He is a scholar. He is a wise man in that. He is a learned being. He has learned all the Shastras. Now he has no disrespect for that. He has reached to that state because he read through all that. But he is aware, he is conscious that in a further steps, even this becomes a vasana, Shastra Vasana, he says. So you can imagine, anything that we do is treated as vasana. Anything. So in this terminology of Papa Punya, that also has become a Papa then, there at that level. Shastra is a Papa then. Because it comes under the don't then, in that level. Don't catch on to Shastras. Shed it. In that level, it is said. We all know it. Until you shed even your knowledge, you cannot. Now, because we know it, are we going to shed our knowledge? It's stupidity. We have not reached that stage. We have to appreciate this step by step and go by it in awareness of what the goal is. Mauna might be my final state. Ramana Maharshi said, Mauna is the ultimate way of communication. So, will we do something like, I'll stop my life, you will stop watching anything, I'll stop speaking at all? It's not possible. Until we reach those states, these have to be utilized, but in awareness, knowing that silence is precious. We are leading towards that. That will lead you to a very conscious goal. Not this fanatism, not this murkta of hey, papa hai, nahi karna hai. You will become a pervert. Because it is not in human nature to drop things. You have not come here to drop things. Okay? Let us understand that. You have not come here to reject things, drop things and all. You have come here to experience life. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. As you keep on experiencing whatever we call as good, bad, ugly, when you experience ugly also and you develop a consciousness that it is ugly, slowly that will fade away. So will even the bad fade away. And so will even the good also will fade away one day. See that? Shastra is good, but that is a vasana. That also has to fade away. So do you see? It is all the gunas. Tamas, rajas, even sattva has to fade away one day. So at that level, even sattva is papa. I hope you are getting what I am saying. Because then you will scrutinize me with, this guy is saying satya is papa. Stoning. Very difficult to sit convincing. That's why I speak only to the people who can relate with what I am saying. That's why I am not very fond of advertising these lives everywhere in multiple groups, only in places. I even request, don't put it everywhere. All my lives and all, don't put it. In this group, that group, don't. Because there people are not ready to listen to it and they won't understand. Only those who relate to it will be able to understand and even make use of it. That's another thing. Understanding is not the picture. We have understood so many things in life. We have heard so many gurus, we have read so many books, we know everything. Parivartan. That transformation will not happen until we perceive it completely, digest it completely. But for digestion, we need that approach of that ruthlessness, that vivek that is beyond this right and wrong, that limited senses of the mind and ego that keeps us blocked into all these small things. Life is much higher on the higher realms. So this doesn't exist. People like Rumi and all are not foolish to say that, where I won't meet you here. I will meet you there, which is beyond the realms of your right and wrong. I will meet you in that realm, in that dimension, which is beyond all this. The avadhutas are in that state. No right and wrong there. But then, one who is aware will not take advantage of that and say, this is not right, so let me do it what I want. That's stupidity. That's not a conscious being. That is Pashu. Animalistic tendencies. So there is a difference there also. So thank you everyone. I think it's very late today. Oh, it's 10:15. For me, I have nothing to do. Maybe you have too many things to do. Yeah, if anybody is coming here, I'll be here till tomorrow in KANHANGAD, and then I am planning to move towards Tiruvannamalai. I think so, 2, 3, 4 days, I don't know, because I want to miss Christmas back home. Every Christmas I'm out, and I don't want to be distracted in all that religious formalities. That is another headache. Birthdays, festival days, people are still stuck in all that. All this must go. These are all certain kind of tendencies, inclinations. Birthdays, die-hard fans of birthdays and festival days. And then the wishing, good morning, good evening, hello, how are you, all these kind of stupid formalities. and all the stupidities of happy this festival, happy that festival, happy birthday, happy. I mean, it's good if you want to remain stuck in all that, but after a certain level, you will not feel inclined to anything. So I want to avoid that, all that nonsense. So I'd rather spend my time in more awareness and Jagrit places. So that's how. If anybody is there, I believe there are some people still in Tiruvannamalai. I'll be there day after for 3 days. So if anybody is there and we would like to meet, we can meet up there. And I'm planning to be one day, that is 25th, Christmas Day, in Bangalore or in Vasco. Let's go. I have not decided. I'll let you know. So if anybody is there around that place, Bangalore or something and all, let me know. You can shoot a direct message, internal message from here, and we can plan up a meet. It's a common place because I'm going to meet certain people. We can all meet up in that place. So it's good. The same platform, same awareness, same understanding, same frequencies. It's easy for me to make friends, even communicate. And these are those friends who are not all those rigid. Like if I don't meet also, they will not say, this is a wanky guy, this is a very attitude kind of a guy. Itna attitude is milne ke liye. So there people will know, okay, this is fine. Chaitali Mitra, thank you Ji. So any questions regarding today's session? I've not had my dinner today in the ashram here. Ganapati ji called me thrice or 4 times. I cut his call every time and I think he's one mad. So I shot a very beautiful video of the ashram during the night time. It's very nice. I'm just clubbing it. I'll put it. It's very nice. Very, very beautiful. Today I met a nice artist also here, Shaiju. I put his video also. So it was a great time here. So I'll catch you guys. Tomorrow I won't be doing any live. I'll do it directly in Tiruvannamalai. I don't know which circumstances, but we'll talk from there then. Some of the most of silent tattvas of Arunachala and oh, Kannubai, you are here. Kannubai, actually I had made a plan to come to Ernakulam yesterday, but today morning I cancelled it because I couldn't get again a train from there to Tiruvannamalai. This belt is very difficult to connect. If you come to Kerala, you are stuck. Then from this part, very difficult to go towards that side, Tiruvannamalai. Chennai and all you can go. That side is very difficult. So tomorrow I don't believe the train is there direct. It will go somewhere till Jolarpete, and from Jolarpete I'll have to take another bus or something to reach Tiruvannamalai. So that's how I was planning. So don't worry, Kannubai, I'm not coming. I just told that was my plan. But I'm leaving that side. I believe you were there with family in Tiruvannamalai last week or something. So we missed meeting there. So Malaji, thank you, then see you. And yeah, some of you have already registered for the upcoming retreat in January. I think 6 or 7 of them I've already done. I don't know who, but I got a message from there that many people are there. And some people even asked from Bangalore, they want to join in the Jiva Samadhi visit. So I don't know. I don't know of my presence because I might be in the ashram from 12th itself and extend 1 or 2 days as per what they want. But surely people are going because I asked them to go. 13 few people are going to Alandi, that is Jiva Samadhi of Gyaneshwar Maharaj. Please go. Once in a lifetime opportunity if you are in Pune. Please go there. And very close to that is even Dehu, where Sant Tukaram actually vanished into thin air. He liberated from there. So people could not relate to it very much. So they said flying chariot came from heavens and we went to Vaikuntha. Anyway, you explain it. He went to Vaikuntha. Okay, fine. Vilino. That's it. So there is no samadhi of Sant Tukaram anywhere. It's an open space next to the river only. But you can go if you want to just be there in that awareness that's there. But if you are identified only with some samadhi, then definitely Jiva Samadhi of Saint Gyaneshwar And of course, there are another two samadhis, Jangli Maharaj Samadhi and Shankar Maharaj Samadhi in Pune itself. So what I told the people, 24, 27. Kanu bhai, ye kya hai? Yeah, Kanu bhai, Katpadi hai. Katpadi is again too high. I saw that it's going, Tirunamala is here. So we travel from here, KANHANGAD. We have to go to Katpadi is here, near Vellore. And from here then we got to come back here. But I am taking a train that goes till here, Jolarpet. And from here it's a bus. So I found that convenient. 24th, 27th. What is that? Oh, you are meaning your dates in Tirunamala. So 13th, few people who are arriving, I have asked them to come by 2 or 3 p.m. So they can meet up all. I'll give up all the pooling people, and then everybody can pool in together and fix up one taxi or something. And from Pune, if you leave to the Jiva Samadhi of Sant Ganeshwar in Alandi and Dehu Road, in 2.5 hours you will finish that and reach Katar Khadak Ashram of Rishi Prabhakar, Rishi Gurukulam, where the retreat is. That is around 1 hour from Pune. So if you go to Alandi and go, I think it will take 1.5 hours, not more than that, or 2 hours maximum, even from the airport. So I don't know, I have never been to that place. So this is what I roughly told those who are coming on 13. They can come little early, couple of hours ahead by 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and then pull in together. If that is not convenient, there are people who are going on 16th. So 14th and 15th is the retreat that I have there. So after that you are free. You can stay or you can leave. So those who want to visit the 16th, because you have full day, you can plan your return somewhere like 16th from Pune. So the whole day you have for not just Alandi and Dehu, you can come back even to Pune and have the Jiva Samadhis of Jangli Maharaj and Shankar Maharaj. And if possible, there is another Avadhoota who is there in those areas. So I don't know, I'll give you a lead at that time when the time is closed. If everything is conducive, then you have the opportunity of meeting that Avadhoota in the Pune central only. He is a living Avadhoota. So all these are connected with that. So people who are interested, 13, 14, 15, 16, these 4 days are what we are, like most of them are together. But if you can't, then only those 2 days, that is also fine. Whichever makes fine. And how we are going to do this is, Uma ji, Namah Shivaya. आपने ही मुझे बताया था तिरुवन्नामलाई का. So how we are going to do it is, people are just registering and telling me who are the things. So I know on which date who is arriving. And by the end of this month or the first week of January, by 7th, I'll have a clear details of how many for 13th and how many for 16th. And then I'll pull, give the addresses, so that you can pull up and then you can make a common meet and then enjoy that trip also. Because that's a part of our awareness camp. And in the awareness 2 days camp, there is no hard and fast rules, there is no schedules. Me and Manoj have kept it just like open. So we wanted to speak about it, then we said, okay, let's be spontaneous. So we are going. And what is spontaneity? It is living in awareness. So we are just going to do a few nudges and stay in awareness and see what happens. How things unfold. So rather than having a prefixed program, it's like we experiment live directly there. What's happening? And then what is my idea is then we live that. We take back that experience and then we put it into our practical lives and try to live that. That's what my plan is, to do that. So I believe okay. Okay then, I'll take your leave. Thank you for staying back so late. Much divine love and light to all of you. May we all evolve. Pranams to all of you from the bottom of my heart. Stay blessed from KANHANGAD.